Hello. Let's see. I gotta, I gotta share this on Twitter just really quick, and then we can start. Okay. Um. So first off, the reason I made the thumbnail like it is actually quite deliberate. Because what I'm showing you in the thumbnail is waiting. The thumbnail is literally Chizuru waiting, right? Every single aspect of what you're seeing is waiting. And her continuing to wait, and then her getting restless by the end, and literally her pose is changing, how she looks is changing. And I think the whole point is that someone wrote a comment earlier on my channel, and I think what they said kind of captures what the manga is trying to do perfectly, which is on purpose. The manga is currently trying to make you feel like they're separated. The manga's been doing that the entire time. In fact, the entire motif of what's currently going on in the manga right now is that it's intentionally making you feel like they're separated. That's by design. You're intentionally meant to feel like, oh, they're separating. Oh, look, they're separating some more. Oh, look, they separated even more than before. And I feel like that's the exact motif. And then, you have the, oh, they're going to meet up after this point thing, where, Chizuru sets this deadline that we see right here. And we're like, oh, now they're going to meet up. And it feels so romanticized and so manga like. Doesn't this feel so manga like and so romanticized and just kind of silly, if you will? It's like for a series that seems to delve into realism, it seems almost fantastical in what it's doing right now, and almost silly, like, oh, this would never happen in real life. And I think that's exactly the point. It's not actually what's happening, I think. In my opinion, I think what's actually currently going on is that Chizuru's done waiting. She's done waiting, and she's gonna seize the bull by the horn. And I think I think what happened in chapter 387 to 389 is she made the same mistake as Kazuya. She made a move, and she thought to herself, "Oh, that's everything I need to do. He'll show up." Literally the same exact thing Kazuya did, right? Isn't that literally what Minnie conditioned him that happened? Right? You don't need to. Minnie essentially conditions him. You don't need to move. Then she tells him to move, and then she gets it in his head. What if this happened? What if this happened? So he doesn't move. Right? So Chizuru in that time made the same mistake as him. What we're seeing now is we're if you go by the logic that Kazuya wasted his time in chapter 389, if you go by that logic, doesn't it seem like what's going on right now is that this is Kazuya's punishment for wasting time? Um, I'm just saying, I'm just talking about how we're basically getting like getting we think so. I'm what explaining right now. What I'm explaining now is what we think is happening versus what's actually happening. What we think is happening right now is that Kazuya wasted his time. I literally talked about how this chapter 389, is literally about time, and Kazuya wasting his time. He's been presented with an opportunity, and he wasted that time with Minnie, right? He wasted this whole fucking time with Minnie, did absolutely nothing, got shit-faced drunk, and literally did nothing, right? By the end of it, did Kazuya do anything? So Chizuru, literally in Kazuya's position, did something and got nothing out of it, right? Because she's sitting around waiting. So she gets a call and she's presented with an opportunity. And so naturally you think to yourself, okay, Kazuya wasted his time. Chizuru got an opportunity. She didn't waste that time. What if this isn't what we think it is? And that's a total possibility. I think what's currently going on in the manga is, in some ways, Chizuru is literally coming back and remembering herself, and what she used to say in the early parts of the manga. If you want something, go for it. Don't hesitate. Don't leave regrets. Don't do any of that stuff. If you want something, go for it. And Chizuru, for a while, had kind of lost this part of her character. For a while, Chizuru had really kind of hesitated and kind of lost a lot of her character, literally like Kazuya has. And I think this is Chizuru being reminded of who she is and what she wants. And if Chizuru in this moment is remembering who she is, what she wants, and setting very clear boundaries with Minnie, then I think this is Chizuru preparing to do the same for Kazuya. And we just think that's not what's happening. The story is literally going out of its way to convince you they're separated. Is that not the case? If you read this chapter, don't you think to yourself, oh my god, more waiting, more separation, I don't like Chizuru, this and this and that. Isn't that literally what the chapter just did? That's exactly the point. And I think the idea is that in reality, what's actually happening is simply no more waiting. Stop waiting. Take charge of your own life. Take charge of what you want to do in life. No more waiting, which is why I think what Chizuru did in chapter 384 and 85 were actually deliberate choices, in my opinion, which comes back to my initial theory that I had presented at the time, which is that what Chizuru did in chapter 384 is that whatever feeling, I think I said this when we first streamed it, whatever feeling Kazuya would evoke, or whatever feeling she would feel, she would act on it. And that's exactly what she did here, right? She kept feeling things and she acted on it. In contrast, you had this element of resistance happening. What is Chizuru resisting? We don't know. I think what Chizuru was resisting is the urge to say stay. And in reality, I think this was all Chizuru actually deliberately doing this on purpose, because Kazuya said he had faith in her. So she did whatever she needed to find her answer. She stopped just reacting. She stopped reacting to Kazuya. Is Chizuru reacting to Kazuya here? Does Chizuru ever react to Kazuya? She's just doing her own thing. Is that not what's happening here? She literally is taking control back of herself and her life, and she stopped reacting, right? Chizuru literally had, what is the thing Kazuya say? She's acting normal, she's not reacting. And you see that in the next chapter. Chizuru is not reacting when she doesn't need to react. When there's no reason to react, Kazuya makes a joke. Oh yeah, okay. She actually doesn't care about these kinds of jokes, so she doesn't react, right? Kazuya is like, she's acting weird, she's not acting, and she's looking at him, waiting to feel something. I think what Chizuru is doing is a deliberate test for herself to see what she feels. And I think when Kazuya finally acted here, right, in some way, she's essentially putting faith in him, just as he put faith in her. So she put faith in him, he acted, and she, in this moment, literally like Sayuri said, maybe what Chizuru felt here is, I want to marry him. And she acted on that. I think that's kind of what happened. It's a deliberate choice by Chizuru that she will act when she feels the emotion. So in the sense, what's interesting is that Cyber Demon and I yesterday were arguing about Chizuru doing what Chizuru is doing here is emotional. you're right and you're wrong. You're right in that it is emotional, but it's a deliberate choice to let herself follow her emotion. It's a deliberate choice to be emotional. She let herself be emotional. She chose to follow her emotions, to trust them. She had faith in her emotions, just as Kazuya had faith in her, and she found her answer here. This is Chizuru finding her answer here. Kazuya kept saying, I have faith in you. She didn't waste that opportunity. She literally used every second she had to make this work, and she found her answer at the very last moment. She literally did not waste her opportunity. In contrast, you have Kazuya, who is told by the taxi drivers, you have Kazuya, who's told by the taxi driver what this means. Instead of, again, he's still reacting, right? Even now, Kazuya is still reacting. And Chizuru kind of falls into this trap too, where she's still waiting. Most of this is waiting for him to act. And this was her mistake. This was Chizuru's mistake here. She's waiting for him to act. She's assuming what he's going to do. She's literally making the same mistake as him without realizing it. Minnie comes over. She's waiting for him to call to show up. He doesn't show up. Minnie shows up. She reacts and wants to know if he did anything else instead of just texting him himself. She's literally waiting. And Kazuya doesn't move. You literally see him not move. When you go to chapter 388, the cover is literally her waiting and talking to her grandparents. Then, what does Kazuya do? Yet again, nothing. He's still not moving. Chizuru, in this chapter, what actually happened in chapter 389 is she learned her mistake and she remembered who she is. No more waiting. No more sitting around. You want something, take it. Don't just sit around and wait and do nothing. I think that is what this scene actually communicated. It's literally Chizuru remembering who she is. It's literally Chizuru taking her first step to actually remembering who she is and why she's doing what she's doing. And in so doing, Chizuru actually remembering who she is and why she does what she does is also a very important moment for Kazuya, who is still not doing that. He still doesn't know who he is, and he still doesn't remember who he is, and he's still reacting. And isn't it super fitting that, like, you have this element of fate? I've described it many times before. You have this element of fate within this story, but fate is not something that magically solves your problems in this story, right? It's not something that magically solves your problems. It presents you opportunities. It literally, chapter 381 is just an opportunity. Had Kazuya just walked away, he would have never noticed. He chose to turn around and actually look at Chizuru in that moment. And he noticed and he took action. He made a choice, a deliberate choice. And because he made a deliberate choice, Chizuru made a deliberate choice too. She saw him take action. She saw him actually put his faith into action. He showed her that he believed in her, and he actively made an active choice in that time to literally be himself and be true to his feelings. So what does Chizuru do in chapter 384 and 85? She becomes true to her feelings. She starts trusting his feelings as he trusts her, as he trusts his own feelings in that moment. That's what happened. Chizuru's feelings didn't change. She just trusted them. She literally just trusted her emotions and what they told her. Not anything else, not anything else anybody said. She literally just trusted her emotions. That's it. She had faith in herself. That's it. That's all that happened in that scene, I think. Watch me be wrong, right? Watch Reiji pull a fast one and be like, nope, you're all fucking idiots. But having faith in your emotions is also actually taking faith into your own hands. You have to actively continue to make a choice. You don't just make one choice and whoop-de-doo, good old done. And this is why Minnie showing up here, preaching to Chizuru that she has faith in her that Chizuru is gonna do this, and she's preaching about faith and all that stuff. Yet Kazuya is the one who's doing nothing. He has faith that one day he'll be rewarded. That's it? You just want to be rewarded by just believing? Or do you want to take action? This is the big lie of this chapter. You think, oh, July 11th is where Kazuya is going to get rewarded. To you, this is the fateful day. You think this is the fateful day. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. In reality, fate is something you take into your own hands. You decide. You make an active choice. And Kazuya is simply not. However, Chizuru is. She's done waiting. She's going to start moving. However, he didn't give up on her, so she's not going to give up on him. And I think that's kind of where the story is right now. We're entering an arc where Chizuru just is going to somehow... I don't know what's going to happen. But I think Chizuru lied to Minnie here. I feel like there is a lie here. There is some sort of lie occurring here. And Chizuru, in that time, realized she can't just keep waiting. It's very intentional that we are intentionally only getting Minnie's perspective. Because Reiji has said Minnie represents the audience. That's the point. And Minnie is flawed. I saw someone mention an interesting comment on Reddit. And they were talking about how Minnie and Kazuya's relationship is like a hierarchy from the moment it's introduced. And I think that's really interesting. They're like, oh, they work better as lovers and stuff and all that. But I think actually that's something I disagreed with. I did agree that because their relationship is built on a hierarchy, it doesn't have natural boundaries. And he says, the person proceeds to say that Reiji has said he's inspired by Toradora. I've never heard of this. I've literally never heard of this. I have heard of Maison Ikkoku. I've heard of Breaking Bad. I heard of Desperate Housewives. I know Reiji is inspired by a lot of different things. And he watches a lot of anime, a lot of shows, a lot of Western movies. The dude is very cultured. He watches a lot of stuff. But what's interesting to me about that is that he highlighted a perfect point that Minnie is what Minnie did, or what Minnie has with Kazuya, is an unbalanced relationship. He is the master and she is the disciple. But then there are times where she becomes the master and he's seemingly the disciple. They have a very unbalanced relationship, and that's reflected to you in the fact that when they take the test at Joypolis, Minnie picks love, Kazuya picks friendship. You think, and it tells you, oh, you're compatible as lovers, but you're not compatible as friends. So you think to yourself, oh, that means they work better as lovers, right? But then this actually presents something really, really interesting that I've recently started to notice. Minnie isn't just so it's not that Reiji's done the picking the easy way out thing with Ruka. Reiji has intentionally done picking the easy way out thing with Ruka a lot with Kazuya's character. Right, Ruka is kind of the easy choice, but Kazuya seemingly never picks her. Right, Ruka has always been like an easier choice. She seemingly loves him. Right, he could get a girlfriend. It could work out. Right, Ruka is kind of an easier choice, but there is an element of imbalance with Ruka, a sort of challenge with Ruka. Minnie, in my opinion, isn't just the easy choice. She's the easiest choice you could ever have, and I think that's by design. Minnie isn't just easy. It's so easy, there's absolutely nothing. And I think that's the point. Because why does a test that Kazuya and Minnie take decide what their relationship is? Right? Why does the test decide that? And I think that's really interesting because you see how Minnie and Kazuya are seemingly imbalanced, not just in the fact that they picked friend and lover, but the fact that Minnie gets a 90 and Kazuya gets a 75 with Minnie. And it shows that Minnie isn't actually, it's by, if Fate needs it to her trademark, it's by design. And it shows that what Minnie and Kazuya have is actually very imbalanced to the point that it's actually not good for either of them. People love to blame Kazuya for the entire thing with Minnie, but let's not kid ourselves and say that Minnie doesn't actually do this too. That Minnie is actively involving herself too. She actively goes out of her way to be with him. She actively goes out of her way to do this stuff. And I'm not saying Minnie is in love. I'm saying Minnie is also actively settling too. Minnie deserves her own love, but Minnie is the one who's settling. And it's because Minnie, again, doesn't just represent the easy way out. It represents the super extra safe, no challenge whatsoever easy way out. Ruka at least kind of has a challenge to it. Minnie just is just the extra easy way out. And she is kind of like, how do I describe it? What Minnie and Kazuya have doesn't feel healthy. And I think what Chizuru represents for Kazuya is responsibility. And he needs an element of responsibility in his life, because while Kazuya is seemingly worried about job hunting, graduation, and all that stuff, Minnie is getting him drunk, wasting his time, and having him do nothing. And then he does that too because he wants to waste his time. Do you actually want to be irresponsible in life? Right? You don't really want to be irresponsible in life. Responsibility takes effort. Responsibility takes actually putting your work in. But with Minnie, you have the ultimate easy way out. You can go drinking, you could not worry about stuff, and then you just, bitch and complain about your feelings. You can act stuff out and say you know everything and pretend like you understand what's going on when maybe you don't know anything. And I think that's pretty much Minnie in a nutshell. Minnie isn't just the audience. It's literally the audience's desire. She's literally the embodiment of what the audience want. The complete escapism. Minnie is escapism. That's what Minnie is. And that's why I think her and Ruka are different. Ruka isn't escapism. Minnie is more decisive. She's not. No. You want to know how I can prove to you Minnie is not nearly as decisive as you think she is? She literally talks about love and how lonely love is and how she's not suited for this battle, and how the only reason she keeps up with cosplays and does things is because of her friends. And that immediately starts to highlight to you almost everything Minnie does is because of the people around her. And you wonder to yourself, are any of Minnie's choices actually hers? And that's what you start to notice that she's doing with Kazuya. Almost everything she tells Kazuya is an amalgamation of nonsense that is facts, assumptions, expectations, guesses. You literally don't know what Minnie is saying is true or not. And she doesn't even know. And she just keeps saying it. It happens in this chapter. Minnie literally says, no matter how you look at it, where is it? I'm not wrong about what I said to Master. How do you know? She's decisive without actually making a decision. She doesn't actually make decisions. She just does things. Minnie is reactionary. She's not an active participant in her own life. She just reacts. Case in point, look at her phone. 999 plus messages, 2% battery, and she's texting Kazuya. Charge your phone, answer some of your fucking text messages, take some responsibility over your goddamn life. Minnie is not decisive. Minnie is the antithesis of deciding things. She's not decisive at all. She just follows her feelings constantly. She doesn't think. She doesn't plan ahead. She's literally actively in the present, never focusing on her future at all. And time literally actively passes Minnie by. She just disappears, moves on, comes back. Oh, look, this is happening. I'm going to focus on this now. And that's Minnie. Minnie is a character that it literally embodies escapism. She is a cosplayer. She is a YouTuber. What are these things? What do they represent? What do these things represent? Right? When you cosplay, you dress as someone else, right? That can be a positive thing and a negative thing. You're becoming maybe your favorite character. You're expressing your character in your own way. However, you could also be sacrificing your individuality in some ways, where you can do this to become someone else, to not be yourself. You could, when you're a YouTuber, you literally put on a persona, an act, right? Maybe your real self. Maybe it is also an act. You guys don't know everything about me. You only know pieces of what I show you. We have a parasocial relationship. And Minnie literally has a parasocial relationship with Kazuya and Chizuru. Her relationship with them is parasocial by fundamental nature. That's the problem. She's not actually actively being their friend. She's not actively living. And you see instances where she does. You see instances where she kind of does. And that's where Minnie is different. So Minnie isn't just third-wheeling. Minnie is like actively trying to take the main wheel while acting like she's a third wheel. She's actively trying to take the main wheel, and she does right here. That's literally what she does right here. She accosts Chizuru and tries to make her to move. She said Chizuru just needed a push. Why the hell is she screaming at her? Chizuru didn't expect, you misspelled expect. Chizuru didn't expect Kazuya to be dumbfounded for a few days after the kiss. Minnie made things worse by confusing Kazuya further, wasting more time. Well, that's just not, again, I've said this before. It's not just Minnie. It's the fact that Kazuya listens to Minnie. And that's represented to you through the driver. The driver that is driving where Kazuya is going asks him, "Is she your girlfriend?" And Kazuya says, "Yeah." Did Kazuya say yeah because the driver asked, or did he say yeah because he actually believes it? Because when you get through the chapter, it doesn't seem like he believes it, right? He keeps doubting it. And then when he interacts with Minnie, who represents the audience, just as the driver represents an outside force, Minnie literally has to tell him he can date her. And he says, "I was just thinking the same thing." Is that his thoughts, or are those Minnie's thoughts? That's exactly the point. That's what they represent. They're outside forces that Kazuya chooses to listen to. Let's see. And I think another thing I really want to highlight is chapter 242. Because in 242, this is when Kazuya tells Chizuru, I'll keep waiting for you. But this is the interesting part. There's a contrast to what happens in this chapter. They're literally sitting apart, and Kazuya asks Chizuru, "Do you have any plans after this? Is there something you need?" He panics, but he says, "I really want to get close to her. Isn't there something that we can do? You want to watch YouTube or something? Huh? What's up with that all of a sudden?" He freaks out. But she says, "Yeah, okay." They sit next to each other. Minnie comes up. How fitting, right? Isn't it fitting that Minnie is what comes up, right? Literally, the character that like does all the weird stuff. Of course it would be Minnie. But Chizuru is chill about it. Right? Chizuru's chill about it. She's a little jealous, but she's chill. And she wants to actually watch one of Minnie's videos. They sit down, they watch the video, and she's having fun. And she doesn't mind. Chizuru sees the time. She says, "I think I should get going. The stage play I told you about earlier. We're at home stretch now. I had to check the script over one more time." That's right. You told me before. That's right. Mizuhara is very self-disciplined. and she's surely extremely busy with her actress job as well. Even though there's no end to it once she starts worrying about Ruka-chan. Amidst all that, she managed to make time for me. Huh. 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 Yumori tells him, in the end, it could just simply turn out that nothing's going to change at all. Okay, but are you going to let that not change? Yumori-san, it's not going to turn out that way. Mizuru has always been like that. She's never been one to just keep hinting at things. I need to tell her something. Mizuhara, I've been thinking about stuff, since you told me you wanted to see your feelings for what they are. Whether my feelings really went through or not, I don't know, but I'll just say this. I'll wait for you for 10 years, at least, if not even 20. I'll wait as long as it takes. I'll wait until you feel you love me. I'll be waiting for you. And thanks for making time for me today. There's a contradiction in this chapter. Do you know what this is? It's really, really simple. It's a really, really simple contradiction. Kazuya says he'll be waiting, but he took action. You need to take action. You can't just wait. And for much of this, they were taking action. Every time the characters actually take action, something does change. And they actually feel the thing they're supposed to be feeling. They literally create their own opportunities. They literally create time. And literally, Chizuru made time for him here. And this chapter alone contradicts that. Right? This chapter alone contradicts what Chizuru told Minnie here. Chizuru can make time. Right? And maybe there's something to be talked about here. She mentioned marriage. What? She looks at him. What are you saying? You've got the family business you need to take care of. You're going to miss your chance at getting married like that. Please don't worry. I'll give it everything I have. Remember this. Chizuru isn't just going to settle, but he also needs to give it everything he's got. He's not. Kazuya is not, and he needs to start giving it everything he's got. Not just for her, but for his life. And I think that's the kind of the arc we're going to be going through soon. We're going to do something a little different. And it's going to be focusing a little on their lives and what they want. Right? What is Kazuya going to do? What does he want out of life? Where's he going to go? Right? Chizuru is pursuing her acting career. Is Kazuya just not going to have anything he wants to pursue? Right? And I think Chizuru's biggest mistake in the recent chapter with the whole ring thing is maybe she was rushing into it. Are they ready to get engaged? They're kind of young. They don't have money. They're not prepared. They're still in college. Should they get engaged? Isn't it a little too early for that? Or maybe they can take their time getting ready to do that, right? Maybe that's the goal, right? Maybe they can't get engaged yet, but maybe they can start getting ready for it. I think this is where Chizuru was being a little naive, where it's like she wanted him to come back. She was expecting him to put he has the ring, right? Literally in our minds, she kissed him. He should come back and propose. I even said this, but Kazuya wouldn't, because Kazuya at the moment has lost track of himself. He's too passive, so he was never going to, and he's afraid of that. Are they even ready for that yet? Right? Are they even ready for marriage yet? That's a good question to ask. Are you ready for that? And I think maybe Chizuru's kind of starting to realize that maybe we're not at that point yet, and we should start working to get to that point. Okay, Brian. I'm at counterpoint. Does Chizuru call him by his name? That's not the only thing. That's the name Mizuhara and the name and Chizuru not using Kazuya's name is in itself representative of the things they need to change to familiarize themselves with each other. That's literally kind of representative of how they don't feel as familiar with each other as they think they do. And maybe that'll come back soon, right? Like the thing of, are you in love with Mizuhara or not? I don't think it's true, and especially because Chizuru literally said, I thank you for falling in love with me. right? Or thank you for loving me. Like, as in she's literally acknowledging, yeah, I know you actually like love me and not anyone else. Um, but I think we're gonna be discussing that stuff at some point, right? At some point, they're gonna have to change that too. Chizuru has to start calling him by his name, and he has to start calling her Chizuru instead of Mizuhara. They both do it, but it reflects an element of unfamiliarity. It reflects a lack of familiarity between the two of them, not necessarily a barrier. It's literally familiarity, I think. Kazuya keeps calling her Mizuhara, but there's more to it. Let's see. I think Kazuya will be an interpreter. Elaborate. Elaborate. Like, wait, like an interpreter, like that's his job? That's interesting. I don't know about that, but yeah. To me, this chapter reflects passivity versus action. It reflects reaction versus action. Minnie is just reacting to what she's seeing, and she's making a whole bunch of assumptions about Chizuru. Chizuru is taking an active choice here. That's why I don't agree that what Chizuru's doing is purely emotional. It's an active choice with her emotion. All of this is a continuously challenging Chizuru's expectations. Chizuru receives a call she didn't expect, and that is followed up by Minnie's confirmation, which she also didn't expect. Minnie's confirmation of what? Minnie's confirmation of what? What did Minnie confirm? Chizuru is being spurred into action, but I can't help but notice that it's her broken expectations driving this charge. You think so? I mean, I do agree. Chizuru had faith in Kazuya, and he wasted her faith. So literally, I think they have to start kind of seeing each other. That's kind of where it feels like we are. But I don't know where to. I don't know where to. To me, it feels like the arc is set. The reason I can kind of make some of these assumptions is because it feels like there are things we don't know. Like simply put, are we not asking a lot of questions? Every single time something new gets introduced, we have more questions. And when you have questions, don't you want to know the answer to those questions? And so if the arc fundamentally starts with questions, if the arc continuously introduces more questions, shouldn't the arc focus on answering these questions too? Right? Shouldn't the point of the arc be about answering and getting to know these things more, to understand? It feels like so much of this arc is about understanding Chizuru because almost every chapter you've seen her, she's literally in shadow. Every single chapter you've seen her has been from an unreliable perspective, being Minnie, and Chizuru has literally been in shadow. Have we actually been talking to Chizuru at all? Do we know anything? And we keep getting more and more lost. The more it continues, the more lost you feel. So to me, that's why I think so much of this feels like figuring out their future, figuring out what they're feeling and what they want for their future. That feels like the point. There's a reason Kazuya keeps looking at the ring. Kazuya keeps hesitating to talk to her because that defines his future. Every single aspect of what we're being introduced focuses on the future. Chizuru's acting, the ring for Kazuya, their future relationship. Every single aspect is their future. Reiji has hinted a lot about the future too, such as when he keeps mentioning the job hunting and graduation, such as when he shows Minnie, such as when he shows Sumi, Mami, and then Ruka, all of which characters we have to deal with in the future. So this arc feels like it's finally moving to the future, whereas before we were in the present constantly. And that's kind of what Minnie is. Minnie is a character that's actively in the present and never focuses on the future while speaking of the future. Minnie actively speaks of the future, but never actually, focuses on her future.
Most of it is focusing on them. Even Kazuya says, I don't know that much about her. I don't actually know anything about Minnie. You don't know anything about Minnie. Because Minnie never talks about her future, her goals, her aspirations, why she's even going to college. What does Minnie actually want? So thinking long term. Yeah. So much of the arc has focused on thinking long term. Chizuru literally asks him, what are you going to be doing from 3 to 5 years from now? And he can't answer. That's literally a question she poses to him, and he can't answer because he hasn't been thinking that far. Kazuya focuses so much on the date, he doesn't plan ahead, and that's bad, and Chizuru knows that's bad. Right? Chizuru knows that's bad. She's seeing problems. There are clear problems in their dynamic that they need to start working through together. And the thing that is intentionally being presented to you regularly is separation. In reality, and they feel like they're literally being divided and separating, right? It actively is being reinforced to you, and you're afraid because you're seeing Kazuya wait and you're seeing Chizuru wait. But Chizuru isn't the same person she was before. She's not the same person as after Hawaiians. She's not going to just sit and wait. Kazuya, however, has not fully evolved past Hawaiians. I think he's still somewhere stuck in Hawaiians, and only now has he started to kind of move forward a little bit. Only now has he started to kind of like take his first step into living again. And only now is Kazuya starting to kind of be alive again, in my opinion. And that's why I think Chizuru, because she learned how to live again and remember who she is through Kazuya, I think Chizuru is going to be helping him navigate that. That they're not actually separated. It's just separation is actively being reinforced to you to freak you out. In fact, Minnie literally says this. Minnie literally says these exact words in chapter 387, doesn't she? She's literally the audience, and what does she say right here? They've parted ways too. The uneasiness is only getting worse. Doesn't this feel like Reishi's talking to you as the reader? Very intentionally so. Hey, it's getting worse. It's like this is actually not real. This is actually not what's happening. And it's going to be them working through it together. It's just there's going to be things we can't completely expect. Because Reishi is a very unorthodox writer, right? He's not predictable at all. And when he wants to do something, he wonders to himself, is this interesting? Is this worth exploring? He doesn't just do it, right? He doesn't settle for an easy way out. He's like, is this meaningful? Is this interesting? Can I explore this? I get that, but I believe that is true about most characters. We don't know a lot about their history, including Kazuya. If we look at it that way, Chizuru is the one we know the most about. Fair. I guess we do know the most about Chizuru. That is true. But we don't know enough about Kazuya, and we need to explore that. I think Minnie, out of all the characters, is the most mysterious. We don't know all that much about Sumi. We do know a decent about Mami. We know a decent amount about Mami. Yeah, we know a decent amount about her. We know a lot about Kazuya. I'd say it's Chizuru, Kazuya, and then Mami, then Ruka, then Sumi maybe, and then Minnie. And the only reason I would say Sumi is because Sumi has her own manga. The only reason I would say Sumi is because Sumi has her own manga. Because we kind of get to explore a little bit more about Sumi in her manga. But that's kind of it. But yeah, there is a lot of mysteries around characters. But you feel like you kind of understand like Kazuya really well because you're constantly in his head. So there's that. But you also don't know things about Kazuya just as Chizuru doesn't. So we see Sumi comfortable in probably a rental date. Yeah, this does definitely look like a rental date. But doesn't Sumi want to be an idol? And yet she's still a rental girlfriend, even to this point. Isn't that interesting? Sumi wants to be an idol, and yet she's still just a rental girlfriend. She hasn't seemingly worked towards that goal at all. Right? We never see Sumi actually ever working towards that seeming goal of actually being a rental girlfriend. or not an idol. But we do see her working the winter-girlfriend job, and she seems perfectly fine now. Isn't that interesting? Anywho, so yeah, it feels like at this point, my main theory, and I'll read what I wrote on Twitter, is simply that the characters need to take action. In particular, Chizuru is starting to take action. We just think she isn't, right? She's literally telling us, "I'm not gonna take action," to misdirect us from the fact that she's gonna take action. That's literally what this feels like. She's literally hidden in shadow, but then there's a light shining on her back. Okay, after 383, Chizuru made a decision. I actually think she really did. I think in 383, she made a decision. 385, she committed to that decision. She found an answer and she was ready. She figured it out on her own. 387 backs this up. 389 shows her wavering, but 390 is Chizuru showing true conviction, right? This is straight up conviction. She won't waver, and something happened in 389. I think we've all been wrong, and Chizuru has been very committed for a while. This is something I can honestly say. A lot of people say Chizuru is very non-committal. She's been committal, and she doesn't even see it in herself. And she definitely feels like she's really committed now. Like, she knows what she wants, and she's gonna go for it. That's what I'm getting here. She knows what she wants, and she's gonna go for it. Can you not say that just from what she says to Minnie here, right? Can you not say that just from what Chizuru says to Minnie here? If anything, you could think of it like Chizuru is trying to iron out her career so that way they have a solid future. That she can make money from this in the future. She needs this particular play to be successful so they have a solid future in moving forward. Doesn't that seem like a reasonable assessment to make? Right? And before, in chapter 343, she literally gives Kazuya a ticket to her play when the play's about to start. And she wants him to go. And she literally has to stop herself from reacting when she gives him the thing. So there's already signs that, yeah, Chizuru has been distracted in the past from her play. She really wants to focus on that. But she's never going to focus thinking that something is going to happen with Kazuya. So is this a total leap of faith? Right? You could think about this some more. Is this a total leap of faith because he says he'll never love anyone like he loves her? And she kissed him. So is she naively believing that nothing will happen in this time? Or is she just having total faith in him? Or is this conviction in her beliefs? Is she hiding something? You don't know. The simple truth of the matter is you don't know, and Chizuru misdirected you away from the kiss. And it looks like, from this point of view, you're not going to get an answer to the kiss. This, I think, is an intentional misdirection. Literally, like she acted it out. She's literally a star shining. Right? There's literally a light shining behind her. She's a literal star shining, like the moon, right? And she's intentionally misdirected you away from the truth. She's literally blocking the truth with her own body, right? You literally don't see the truth. She misdirected you away from it. So you don't know. Is this Chizuru having blind faith? Right? She's literally in the darkness. She seems to have conviction in her beliefs. You don't know. But Chizuru wanting this play to work out could be the truth because she wants that play to be something for her future. She's literally focusing on her future. She's considering and actually taking her future seriously. In contrast to someone like Minnie, who clearly is not. Right? You literally see a contrast in this chapter, whereas Chizuru is literally... What does Chizuru mostly do in this chapter? She talks to her friends, and they talk about future plans. When Chizuru talks to her friends, when you first see them, they're talking about, I want to go to the beach soon. And they're giving her shit for what happened in the past. Then they talk about going to another place, and Chizuru says, good idea. Chizuru is literally making plans for her future. That's literally what we're seeing here with Chizuru. With Chizuru. In contrast, Minnie is literally just stuck in the present. Minnie is literally not moving. She's not looking to her future, she's looking at Chizuru. That's two completely different things. Sumi is not really working towards her future. Mami is just seemingly existing. You literally don't see Mami's face. She's literally just existing. You have Kazuya literally standing still. Kazuya is literally, Mami's moving, Sumi is moving, Kazuya is literally standing still. And then you have Ruka leaning next to him. But he doesn't even acknowledge Ruka. He literally looks out of it. And then you have Minnie with her eyes closed, screaming at Chizuru and not seeing her. Again, this theme of planning for the future permeates this chapter. Chizuru is literally planning for her future. Does that future include Kazuya? It seems like. Much of this seems like Chizuru planning for her future with Kazuya. But is that future just gonna happen? Right? So it's like, would she not do anything this entire time? Wouldn't this contradict and work in line with this theme of waiting? Right? Is Chizuru just going to wait? Or is she going to take her own action and decide for herself? Right? Because this matches what Chizuru said before. If you want something, go for it and don't leave room for regrets. It seems like she's going for this play and not leaving room for regrets. But doesn't she want her relationship with Kazuya, right? And it feels like it's something she would want to invest in too. So isn't that interesting? This scene is somewhat contradictory. She's planning for her future, but as Kazuya not part of her future, seemed like she was ready to marry him earlier, so it doesn't add up. And that's by design. She misdirected the conversation away from Kazuya. We don't know what her future with Kazuya is, except that she won't have a boyfriend up until that point. But what does that even mean? Minnie doesn't even know. I'm fairly sure her telling Minnie that she doesn't want a boyfriend until that play is a lie. And there is evidence that that's true and evidence that that's false. The evidence that what you're saying is that it's false is true is because she's in shadow with something behind her. The evidence that might be not true, right, that because she's telling the truth here, is that her eyes are open and she's seemingly blushing and she has a little sweat drop. Like there's a little bit of hesitation about that. She's not certain about this, right? So she's telling the truth, but maybe she's not certain about this truth. But it also doesn't make sense because Kazuya's birthday is around the corner, right? So, and I think the biggest thing that we can point to this is that the movie arc. The movie arc, Umi said it best, they started looking to the future. And Kazuya was literally looking to the future. He even literally described the future to Sayuri, where he tells her, even if our relationship ends, I would still support her. And I think that highlights a very important point, right? Isn't that kind of where we are right now? But at the same time, that element of commitment and not giving up is in line with the movie arc. And it seems like Chizuru is at this point committing and not giving up. Right? So in a sense, it's Chizuru working on her movie arc, and it happens to be Kazuya's. She's helping him reach his dream by helping him rebuild himself. I could see that being the point. I think chapter 389 may have been a reminder of why she was doing what she was doing and from the call, and now she's very certain in her choices. I think this is Chizuru becoming very certain in her choices. We don't know if she reacted to Minnie. I don't think so. Chizuru has shown she's not reactionary. She stopped reacting and started acting. She actively takes control back. She never lets Minnie dictate the pace. She never reacts to Minnie. I don't know if you've already mentioned it, but there's a detail that gets lost in translation in chapter 309. Chizuru is equivalent to, and I would like to have all my focus on it, which literally means I want to try focusing on it with all my energy just once. Implying that she has never done this. Huh. Here we go again. Let me check with my friend. What does Chizuru say about her play? Does she say she would like to focus
solely. Never stop. Your timing is amazing for now, rather than just this once. This is why we need Japanese speakers, because yesterday we had a similar incident where someone was claiming, I don't know who it was, someone was claiming like this thing said this, but in Japanese, like I'll literally show you in Japanese, when Japanese is written, you have this base word here, but then you have this which tells you how it's supposed to be read. And unfortunately, when people translate, they'll translate this, but they won't translate how you're supposed to read it. And what ends up happening is they lose what's supposed to be said. So someone yesterday was telling me this meant understudy, but it literally tells you you're supposed to read it as substitute. And literally, like two other people told me this. And I know this because that's like something I've come to understand about Japanese is like literally you have the base text and how you're supposed to read it. And yeah, so that happened yesterday too. That's why I needed to check. Yeah, for now seems more in line, right? That seems totally in line with, I think she even says that. Where was it? Yeah, it just seems like I would like to focus to have all my focus on it. Kanji is hard. Yeah, I'm aware. I heard kanji was pretty fucking brutal. Yeah. So literally, it just seems like this is just for now. Like for now, I'd like to focus on it. That's it. She's not saying she's gonna do this every time. I think that's another thing that like counters the argument. Oh, what if this happens again? Well, she's just saying for this one. Just for this one, she really wants to focus, and that's totally fair. She wants to focus on her play. That doesn't mean she's not going to talk to Kazuya, right? It just means she's not going to date. It just means this could very well be the truth here. It just means she's not going to date. And I've said this seems like a truth hiding a lie, that she won't talk to him. There's no reason not to talk to him. They just don't have to date. She could explain her intent, what she wants, and that she wants a relationship up to this point, and then they could keep interacting and getting to know each other. But that she's just not going to date, right? What does Chizuru describe dating, right? Like, to me, when Chizuru says boyfriend, it means dating. And dating is hard. She said before, dating is hard and takes time. And she doesn't have time for that if she's going to focus on the play. However, what has Chizuru said in the past? What shows you the actual truth? It's actually a very simple chapter, and it actually tells you the truth of what's going on. It's not that this play's a lie. I think the play is real. I've said this. I think the play is real. I just think Chizuru is lying by omission, right? It's a lie of omission. And that omission is what she says to Kazuya here. How much do you want to go out on dates? And Kazuya says, he imagines every day. She's like, that's crazy. There's the weekend and all, so maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Oh, how about you? He asks a question. Oh my God. Oh, we have our own things to do, especially once we find full-time jobs. So probably like once a week. The correct answer was once a week. I missed it, but 1 or 2 times. She probably thinks that our values are completely different. No, Kazuya, stop thinking in your head. I see though, once a week, huh? She's busy after all and sensible. She's not really the clingy type and not want to meet all the time. Even if we start dating, a relationship might not be all that romantic. How do you know that? But it's not what you think. It just takes time to get things ready when it comes to going on dates. It doesn't mean they can't be together. She's just not going to go on any dates. I think maybe that's the misdirection when she says no boyfriend. She's literally just not going to go on any dates. And I know in the Japanese, she specifically says boyfriend. But when you think boyfriend, you associate that with dating.
But that doesn't mean that I don't want to meet up. I actually might want to be together all the time. I love her. She's so funny. Oh, really? I totally get it. It can be tough going out. Maybe, does she mean living together? That means living together, right? It's not like she's specifically talking about doing it with me. She said something similar to that before. It really hits me after hearing it again, and I feel super embarrassed. We're not on a rental date, and she's not throwing a sales pitch, so this must be her true feelings. It's totally possible to have a romantic relationship. Okay, open wide. What about messages? Like line or phone calls. But how should I answer? My by that logic, I could go on forever. Cell phones and line messages take time. It depends on the timing, but I totally want to message the person I love every day even. Oh, me too. If Chizuru seemingly loves him now, wouldn't she want to text him regularly and interact with him? I think this is a misdirection. I think she's literally just saying, we're not going to go on dates. But that doesn't mean she's not going to talk to him, because talking to him actually helps. Talking to him actually helps, relaxes her. Literally, when you go home and you're stressed from work or something went wrong, wouldn't you want to talk to someone and feel comfortable around them? Wouldn't you want to text someone who makes you feel comfortable, creates a safe space for you? Right? I think Chizuru's still going to talk to him. That's very clear. But I think it's true that she's not going to date. They're not going to date in this time. And I think there's going to be a different direction for the series where they're, dating has been the entire thing for the series for this time. Right? Like, communication is a must. Yes, I'm aware. I think she's going to actually do something. She's going to talk to him. There's a lot of subtext in Japanese. However, in theater, understudy and substitute are literally the same thing. If you're an understudy, you are just in case of a particular actor is absent. Okay, but she literally knows this. She literally, yeah. She's a replacement. She wasn't the first pick. She was a replacement. She's literally we literally said this. This is something I'm trying to understand too. That Chizuru is a replacement. She just got lucky, right? She knows she just got lucky, but she's going to take this by the horns, and she's not going to waste this opportunity sitting around waiting for love, right? She's going to chase this. It doesn't mean she's not going to talk with Kazuya and work on her love with him. She's not going to work. It's not saying she's not going to work on their relationship, but she is going to focus on this play. There might be times when I can't, but I enjoy talking on the phone and keeping in touch. Yeah. A dream that I can just nonchalantly ask her what's up. I want it now. Someone literally broke a leg. Lol. That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, literally, Chizuru just got lucky. But she's going to use this opportunity. She's not going to just sit around and wait. And I think that in an interesting way is a very intentional contrast to Kazuya, who's not using his opportunities, who's not talking to her, who's not doing anything with his life. He's being presented with many opportunities, and he's not doing anything. And I think Chizuru literally starting to use her opportunities will be an inspiration to Kazuya to do the same, similar to the movie arc, except, unlike the movie arc, it's not a film for her, but for himself. I think that's the point. Where Chizuru literally starts working on her goals, and Kazuya wonders to himself, what am I doing? What am I working towards? Do I have any future goals? Do I want to do anything? And he'll start working towards that. And he'll start asking questions, because we're seeing him get curious. We're seeing him get curious about his future. And that is so important for Chizuru to be working on her future, whereas Kazuya is stuck in the past and Minnie is constantly in the present. Chizuru inspiring Kazuya to work on his future is important to contrast Minnie, who's constantly keeps him stuck where he is and doesn't do anything. So Chizuru literally inspires Kazuya to be responsible for himself and his future. And I think that's the point. That's what we're building towards, literally working on your future, working on yourself, right? And yes, I genuinely think there's not going to be any dating. moving forward. At least not with Chizuru. I don't think so. And I think it's going to be an important thing where it's like maybe both characters swear off dating, right? That'd be interesting. Both characters like swear off dating, which would be very unprecedented for the series. I don't think you think the ticket is a red herring. It might just end up being small. We don't know. We don't even know if the ring is gonna come back, right? I don't think the ring is just gonna happen. I think they're not ready for marriage. I know you had that theory, but I don't think they're ready for marriage. And maybe it could happen. Maybe it could happen, but they're not. They don't. They're still college students. They don't have full-time jobs. They don't feel like they're prepared for it. You think Minnie told Kazuya back from evolving a man that Chizuru wished him to be? No, 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 no. Chizuru, it will help him through that regardless. And it's not like Kazuya was ever going to fail, because Kazuya was always doing that, but Minnie is holding him back from his own future. Minnie basically got Kazuya so sucked up into the romance bullshit because she's constantly with him at all times that literally Kazuya's identity seemingly starts to disappear, and all he has is romance. Whereas before, he kind of had some other stuff going on in his life. But Kazuya now has seemingly all his focus is romance. Outside of that, what does he have? And after the rejection, he started kind of valuing himself a little bit. And you start seeing that when he refuses to bend his feelings when Chizuru tells him no. That was Kazuya starting to actually value himself. And then you see Minnie interact with him, and suddenly Kazuya doesn't value himself anymore. He's back to getting upset and getting mad and saying, I want to die. He literally says, I want to die. He's not valuing himself. He's literally sad and telling himself, I don't want to do anything. I want to run in circles for Mizuhara. Minnie literally did that. Chizuru doesn't want that for him. Would you want that for your partner? No, she's actively shown him that's not what I want. I want you to have a good life. The reason she rejects him is because she wants him to go and find happiness. And that was her initial mistake, is that she thought she needed to do this out of a sense of responsibility. Chizuru is so responsible that she will do this. She will sacrifice her own selfish desires to be with him if it means he finds actual happiness. But then she finds her answer. The problem is that Kazuya has no answer to his future. He's not focusing on his future. He hasn't thought long term. And this arc seems to be setting up thinking and planning long term. And this is important considering the theme of marriage, which is contrasted by Mami. Mami's whole thing with marriage is that she has an arranged marriage. And now it seems like what they're setting up for is to explore the theme of marriage meaningfully and what you want to do. Like how marriage is a choice, not something that's forced onto you, right? Chizuru thought she had to get married. Why don't you make that choice intentionally so, right? Rather than have like, what is it? Rather than feel like you need to get married, right? It shouldn't be as something you should do. It's something you want to do. And I think exploring that, why they want to get married, why they want to go that direction is good. Understanding why they want to get married is important. Okay, weirdos talking in chat about Chizuru making an OnlyFans. I'm just gonna mute both of you. Unreal. Okay, isn't it kind of weird that Dijon, Oscaris, and Johann Lover all showed up at the same time talking about weird shit? Am I the only one who's getting like weird vibes? Like, hey, Lawless Bacon, should I have banned them or just time them out? Cause it's just weird. I don't know. Lawless Bacon, you tell me. I'll just keep going. So you have this theme of marriage where Mami has an arranged marriage where she's not making a choice, actively literally letting choices be made for her, in contrast to Kazuya and Chizuru, who seemingly want to get married, but are they doing it because they think they should or because they want to? And that is a repeating theme as well. This idea of should you do this because you think it's the right thing to do, or should you do it because you want to? And that's also a permeating theme right now, that characters are literally deciding what they want to do outside of what other people tell them to do. Johan Lover seems all right. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, literally why what you want to do versus what other people tell you to do, planning for your future, being responsible but also following what you want to do, literally striking balance. And I feel like that's the big thing we're kind of working towards. I said maybe my initial theory is that someone did he respond? What happened? Chizuru said in that scene right here, Chizuru said, "I want to focus on this with everything that I have." Something like that. You think they should get immediately or wait? No, I think they should wait. They shouldn't rush into it. Their mistake is that they feel like it's right, but I think they should plan for their future before they rush into marriage. I think marriage is a big talking point right now, but they shouldn't rush into it, even if they feel like it's right. It can feel right. They definitely felt like a married couple, but they're not balanced. They need to have a healthy balance. They look right. They look like a married couple. At times, they even feel like a married couple. But a married couple can understand each other and communicate and talk and be comfortable around each other. They can look at each other and interact, and they can support each other all the time. You see them support each other, but their biggest issue is still being able to focus on their future, have stability with themselves and each other. And that's something I think Kazuya and Chizuru don't quite have yet. They can't even call each other by their respective names. Right? Is that not true? For every positive, there is an element they need to clearly work on. And that's, I think, what Reishi set up, right? Kazuya, they have a chapter about Kazuya calling Chizuru her last name, her actual last name, instead of something else. But he couldn't do it, right? He literally still couldn't do it. You have a whole bunch of setup for things they need to work on and overcome that did not get overcome. And those are things that we're going to be exploring moving forward, right? And slowly deciding what they want, and they figuring themselves out and figuring out their future, right? In the movie arc, they focused on the film. They focused on that future, but that future was always going to end in death. What people don't realize is a lot of the early parts of the series have these themes too. A lot of the early parts of the series have these exact themes too. The difference is, at the time, they weren't actually focusing on their future. They were focusing on an immediate goal. They were focusing on an immediate goal that would not give them their future. And then when they tried to get together, they hadn't really actually overcome any of their own fears and insecurities. So when confronted with these fears and insecurities, while trying to get together and literally everybody is on their fucking business, they're not trying to do it in their own time, but around everybody else, and literally letting everyone else drag them into it. That's what Hawaiians is. Hawaiians is literally everybody else dragging them into their home business and deciding for them what to feel and what to think regarding their relationship. And literally them losing track of what they want while constantly everyone else is telling them what to feel and think. And that's literally a repeating motif. So now, I think what this arc is doing is being the antithesis of Hawaiians. Literally separating their relationship from outside forces, including Minnie. Chizuru is trying to remove Kazuya and her relationship from outside forces so they can figure it out on their own, truly interact and get to know each other in secret so that they can later have it be public and not let anyone else tell them what to feel and think. I think that's what's happening, and we're going to have something big to set up and explore that. I think we're going to do something unprecedented to explore that because Reiji has constantly shown us separation. A repeating motif of separation, and now it seems like separation is cemented in stone. That's a lie. It's not, and we're going to actually explore why it's not. 5 chapters since chapter 385, and they still didn't reach each other. The waiting is killing. I have a strong feeling that they will not be able to contact next chapter as well. Yeah, it's totally possible. It's totally possible. I think after like a few chapters, I think after a few chapters, things will settle down a little bit. Right? Like I think give it a few more chapters and it should start to slowly settle down. and things will calm down a little bit. But right now, tensions are high. Aren't tensions like kind of high? Everybody's like, ooh, right? But in reality, I think things are actually going in a great direction. It just looks like they're not. And I think the biggest thing we're going to start seeing is slowly Minnie being phased out. So the foundation of the relationship is being rebuilt, more like properly built, more like a proper foundation. Before, their foundation was good, but it was built around their lies. And that's the thing. They can. You're not a bad person for lying, and everybody lies, but they shouldn't lie to each other, and they shouldn't lie to themselves. After Hawaiians, they kind of lost who they are, so they had to rebuild that foundation. Slowly remember who they are and what they want. Kazuya kind of rebuilt that, but he also rebuilt himself around Minnie and who Minnie wanted him to be. Yeah, their foundation was built around Minnie. That was essentially the mistake. They started on the right path, and I actually think they were going in a great direction. I genuinely think that, up until chapter 249, they were going in a great direction. And suddenly they lose their homes. And that's literally a repeating motif. They get presented with death again, right? In Hawaiians, they faced a death. And after Hawaiians, they faced another death. They get presented with another loss. And in that loss, they couldn't deal with it. They weren't ready to deal with another loss. They were just not okay. They were not dealing with it well. And they were struggling. So they thought they needed Minnie. They thought they needed Minnie to create a comfort space for them. They enjoyed their time with Minnie. They thought they needed her in order to do what they wanted. This was a lie. And the curtain represents this lie. The curtain is Chizuru thinking she needs Minnie in order to talk to Kazuya. The curtain actually represents Minnie. Holy shit, I just realized that. The curtain actually represents Minnie, and what is Minnie? A filter, a relay point, something that lets them interact with each other. Chizuru realized she never needed Minnie. She never needed a filter. She never needed protection. She never needed safety. That was just in the way. And they were building something good prior. And now they need to start working on that again without Minnie. The problem is they didn't need a relay point. They didn't need protection. They didn't need any of that crap. That was just in the way, and it made everything worse. And this is when they're starting to realize they can't let, literally, and that's why you have two contrasting things happening in the cohabitation. In the cohabitation, you have everybody else seemingly removed from their issues, which is perfect, right? Everybody's fucking out of their situations, not bothering them. They're just dealing with their stuff on their own. And occasionally some people show up. Occasionally, like, Umi showed up, Sumi showed up, you had Grandma Nagomi meet Chizuru, you had Chizuru go to meet Kibe. But and some of that stuff put expectations, like Nagomi put expectations on them, even though she was trying to be helpful. She unintentionally made Chizuru feel a little more isolated. And it pushed Chizuru into kind of a corner. She didn't mean to. She's just trying to be understanding and helpful. And I don't think she actually destroyed or made anything particularly worse. And I think that's kind of the important part. And then you had the Umi thing, which literally interrupted Kazuya, and Kazuya freaked out and leaned on Minnie, and felt like he needed Minnie to do this, right? When he could have probably done it on his own. And this is where something starts to get highlighted to you. You have a contrasting thing where people are removed from the picture, intentionally so for much of it, but then you have Minnie who's constantly there. And Minnie's always wrong. For instance, when Chizuru's going through her menstruation, Minnie tells him, if it were me, I'd want to be left alone. But Kazuya doesn't want to leave Chizuru alone. And guess what? Chizuru didn't want to be alone. She actually really appreciated his company, and it meant a lot to her. And she literally tells him how her grandma used to do that too. Do you see what's happening? If Kazuya had listened to Minnie, Chizuru would have felt more isolated and alone, and she wouldn't have had the food that he made. She wouldn't have had his company. She wouldn't have been able to get that stuff and felt more comfortable, and she wouldn't have woken up in the morning and felt appreciated and cared for if not for Kazuya. If Kazuya had listened to Minnie, things wouldn't have worked out. Right? So basically, the whole point is that Minnie is actually in the fucking way. Minnie is literally in the goddamn way. She needs to be removed from the equation. And they need to start working on living together on their own. And I don't think that's going to happen right away, but we're going to start working towards that, right? We're going to start probably small, literally like similar to before. We're going to start with texting. And then we're going to start with them slowly interacting with each other and supporting each other, maybe. And then maybe we'll transition into getting them to live together again. I know this is off topic, but do you think Mushoku Tensei and Rent-A-Girlfriend are similar to each other because of how controversial they both are in the anime community? Yes and no. I think Mushoku Tensei and Rent-A-Girlfriend are completely different from each other in many, 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 many aspects. In particular, I think Rudy is actually a piece of shit. But that makes him interesting. Rent-A-Girlfriend, the characters are not pieces of shit. A lot of them really are not. But they are struggling and they go through mental health, which is where you can explore some similarities to Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei, in my opinion, does something kind of cool where it explores like what the point of an isekai is, where it's like he's actually getting to live a new life. Like he's literally creating a new life for himself. And his old life is still there kind of haunting him. And Mushoku Tensei is interesting. Take it easy with my boy Rudy's. Rudy's a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I like Mushoku Tensei, and Rudy is a piece of shit. He is. Like, dude's terrible, and he embraces being terrible. He knows he is. He embraces it. I'm not saying like he's an irredeemable human being. I'm not saying he's an irredeemable human being. I'm just saying Rudy is a terrible person, and that makes him interesting. Like, it's engaging to watch him because he's so terrible. But I don't think him and Kazuya are the same at all. Kazuya is not like Rudy at all. They're not similar. But it is fascinating to me that a character like Rudy gets defended so much. But then you know, Kazuya, who's nowhere near as bad as him, gets a mountain of shit. And then you have people like who compare Kazuya to something like Scott Pilgrim, who, by the way, Scott is very toxic and very unhealthy and kind of a terrible person too. And he realizes this later in the comics that he's a terrible person. But again, they compare the two because they think there's similarities in them where, you know, Scott has, Scott faces the consequences of his actions. He's dating a teenager and he's 22 years old. The thing with Scott is that his age gap is much, much worse than anything Kazuya has. He's like 23 and she's 16. Kazuya is dating Ruka when they're like 20 and she's 16. They're only a 4-year age gap. And yes, he is an adult and it's weird, but the series actively explores that for both of their characters, not just Ruka and Kazuya, because Ruka is making an active choice, fully aware that what she has with Kazuya is not balanced. It is because she's a kid. And Kazuya literally has to manage her like an adult and figure out what he wants out of dating through interacting with her. But what they have is also healthy. What Ruka and Kazuya have is both unhealthy and healthy. And that's why it's unique from what Scott has with Knives. Where with Knives, like, Scott is just using her. Plain and simple. Scott's just fucking using her. He doesn't care about her. The moment he gets another girl, he wants to fucking dip, but he doesn't break up with her because he's a piece of shit. He doesn't fucking break up with her. He's a piece of shit. And he doesn't want to break up with her. And it literally blows up in his face. Kazuya, in contrast, actually doesn't want, like, he doesn't want to send signals or anything. He doesn't do anything with Ruka. He never pushes her boundaries. He always tries to stop things and control stuff. And when he finally, like, figures his feelings out and, like, actually feels like he can do something, he actually wants to break up with Ruka. Because Kazuya being with Ruka reflects his own powerlessness. Because Ruka is a very active character who actively wants a relationship with him, where he's a passive character who doesn't want a relationship with her. And even though he's tempted constantly. Kazuya actively fights his temptations. Scott Pilgrim doesn't. Scott never fights his temptations. He actively gives in to them. Kazuya actively fights his temptations. There's a lot of differences I can strike between the characters and why their stories are not the same at all. I don't think people defend Rudy. They call him a pedo. No, there's a lot of people who defend him. There's a lot of people who defend him. Chapter 220. Is that when Mami reveals everything? I don't remember. What's chapter 220? But yeah. We got off topic. I was talking about how Minnie is. Damn, I don't even remember what the fuck we're talking about. We're focusing on the future. I think we're focusing on the future. The big arc is going to focus on the new future. There's going to be a few twists coming up that have been building up for a while. I think there's been a lot of things that have been building up for a while, and we're going to have to face them soon. And if some of it is Kazuya being called out, I can see some of the readers getting fucking pissed. Right? But I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of hard to know. I also did not want to stream for too long, so I'll stop at maybe the 2-hour mark. I don't really want to stream long today. I do apologize. This was never intended to be a long stream. I wanted to make a short stream today. I guess I'll keep reading what I wrote. So I said maybe my initial theory of chapter 300 and of Chizuru. Maybe my initial theory of Chizuru being tough on Kazuya in chapter 384 and 385 actually makes sense. She could have been challenging him to be honest and to figure out his feeling and to figure out his struggle is not her but something else. I said in chapter 385 that Chizuru is not reacting to Kazuya acting anymore, right? Like when he's reacting, she's not reacting anymore. Basically this entire sequence is them literally they stopped reacting. Chizuru stopped reacting. She's only taking a decisive action when she knows what she's feeling. When she knows her feelings, she takes decisive action. She stopped reacting and started acting. And in this moment, Chizuru figured out she never needed Minnie. So when Kazuya says this, in this moment, I think Chizuru felt literally what Sayuri said in chapter 300 and where was it? In chapter 378, Sayuri literally tells her in a flashback, a lot of people proposed to her. And she said, 100 guys proposed to you. Well, you have to consider the times as well. But she said, only Katsuhito was the only one that made me feel like I wanted to marry him. If that is how Chizuru is defining her love, she wanted to marry him here. This is what she felt here. In this moment, she felt she wanted to marry him. So she kissed him. The problem was she assumed Kazuya will come back and ask. But Kazuya is passive because literally they're both in the dark. They actually don't fully understand each other here. Kazuya is opening his eyes and seeing her. Her eyes are closed. She's literally closing her eyes and having faith in this love and her feelings and everything that she's experiencing. This is Chizuru having faith and choosing to dream. This is Kazuya waking up and seeing reality. The problem is they're both in shadows. So neither actually fully understands the other in this scene. Neither, like, they kind of do and they don't. Right? Eyes wide, shut tight, shut up, shut type thing. What? Sure, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That you phrase that weird. But yeah, it's literally like they're meeting. Literally like two things are colliding. And the problem is that they don't actually fully understand each other. Even with his eyes fully open, he doesn't see. Right? Notice how even though Kazuya's eyes are wide open, what do we not see? He never sees Chizuru. You notice how we never see Chizuru's face? It's almost like Kazuya literally does not acknowledge her face. It's fundamentally antithetical to Hawaiians when she kissed him. In Hawaiians, we get very detailed depiction of Chizuru's face. Like a very intentional, detailed depiction of Chizuru's face. Notice how here we never see her face. It's almost like Kazuya literally didn't see her face. Isn't that interesting? It's like Kazuya literally did not see her face. Even though you see it right here. And then her face disappears. Her face is gone. Her face is gone. It's like Kazuya didn't actually see her. His eyes are literally wide open and he doesn't see anything. Right? So, Chizuru figured something out here. She found her answer. She felt like she found her answer. Let's see. Kazuya is very subtly drawn different in this chapter too. The line work is thinner. You mean how he's presented in the current chapter? Yeah, he looks different here. And he just looks kind of, he's just going, he literally looks like Kazuya from when he was cleaning his house. He's just kind of going through the motions, right? Kazuya's literally just going through the motions. He's not actually like present. And notice how Ruka is literally not here initially, and then she shows up right here. The camera just tilts, and it's like, oh, look, Ruka's right there, right? What if Ruka's right there? He's alone, but Ruka's right there. And literally, the whole idea is, what good is faith if you don't act on it? What good is faith if you don't do anything? He looks like anime Kazuya a little. No. There's similarities, sure, but I don't see it. Right. So Chizuru figured, to be honest and sorry to figure out, it's not something else. Which is why she takes the curtain down herself without Minnie, right? The reason Chizuru takes the curtain down for herself without Minnie, she never needed Minnie. That's why she shuts Minnie out. I never needed you. I did not need your help, Minnie. I could handle this perfectly fine on my own. I always knew how to do this on my own. This is why Minnie's wrong in this chapter. She's convinced Chizuru needs some sort of push. Chizuru didn't need any push. Chizuru didn't need any push from Minnie. If anything, Minnie was the wrong push. Minnie would have pushed her in the wrong direction. Chizuru got the correct push in chapter 389 from someone who's actually reasonable and responsible, who's helping her focus and work on her career. And in working on her career, in seeing her future again, in remembering why she does acting, in remembering the movie arc and why she worked like she did back then, she remembered why she's doing what she's doing. And she realized she doesn't need Minnie. She literally needed the right person to give her a push, not just any person. Because Minnie is the wrong person to give her a push. Minnie is literally wrong in this chapter. She's in the dark for a reason. Minnie is literally in the dark for a reason. She does not know anything. She's reacting. She's not acting. Every single thing she sees, she's just reacting. Here she is, reacting, reaction. All of it is reaction. None of it is active, meaningful action. She doesn't even know what she's saying. Minnie is just saying stuff. I'm just guessing, but when two people love each other, they kiss, but not with their eyes open. So Kazuya has his eyes open, but Chizuru has her eyes closed. Does that mean that Kazuya wasn't ready for intimacy? I think it means they're out of sync. Because they are. They literally are. I mean, she kissed him and he wasn't expecting it. They're literally out of sync. Even in that moment, they're still out of sync. That's just the truth. And Kazuya has his eyes wide open because he's seeing something he never thought he'd see. And Chizuru has her eyes closed because she's choosing to dream. Kazuya is seeing reality, finally. Because literally that's Kazuya's entire theme right now. He's literally still trapped in some sort of fantasy world. He needs to start seeing the real world and actually living in it. Literally stop just having faith and actually take meaningful action. But no. Like the simple terms is that Kazuya is surprised and Chizuru is, doing her thing. That's just surface level. Digging deeper into it, Kazuya is literally seeing the reality in front of him upon telling Chizuru, I'll keep believing and dreaming. That's literally, isn't that straight up what he says? Right? He says, I'll keep my promise. This is literally what he says. I'll keep my promise. As in, I'll keep believing. And in continuing to believe, he's not seeing reality. There's a double-edged sword. It's a good thing that he's believing, but that's what he doesn't realize. When Kazuya says what he says here, he's not just saying, I'll wait forever. He doesn't realize he just took meaningful action. That's what happened here. Kazuya is saying, I'll wait forever, but he took meaningful action. He wasn't just waiting. That's what this scene is. That's why Chizuru reacts, because he took real meaningful action, and that meaningful action made her feel like she loved him. And or made her feel like, I want to marry him. So she's like, okay, I totally love him. Kiss him. This didn't happen because of anyone else. In chapter 309, what happens after Nagomi tells Chizuru, I see you in your wedding dress? And him in his tux or something. Chizuru goes home and sees that. But she's probably wondering to herself, am I seeing that because she told me that, or am I seeing that because I want to see that? To be honest, back at the hospital, Sayori-san and I had a little chat about you two. She told me that she could see a bright future for you two, one where you'd be surrounded by your children. I told her that I felt the same. Even now, I can still see it. I see you in your wedding dress and Kazuya ready to take you as his wife. This literally looks similar to this. Do you see the similarities? Do you see the similarities? Do you see how it lines up that she felt like marrying him here? Especially when you go to chapter 387, where she literally has, Minnie literally says she looks like a wife and a mother. And she literally prepares an entire meal and sits exactly like she sat when she talked about her ideal proposal. The problem is, Chizuru was also waiting. Chizuru shows up. Kazuya says hi. He hears it was Nagomi-san. She looks at him. She remembers what they said, right? She remembers what other people said. And she sees him in tux. She sees him in his wedding dress. Or wedding outfit. Sure, whatever. And she walks away. Was this because of what they said, or was this because of what she felt? Here, it's clearly because of what she felt. And she knew in this moment, yes, this is what I want. I can put the ring on. Yeah, so basically, I think in this scene, what was happening is that Chizuru simply was not filtering her approach. She was just, yep, I'm just going to exist. I'm just going to do my thing. I'm just going to react how I want to react. If I react to him, if I feel something, I'll trust those feelings. Because he believes in my feelings. Like literally, he believes in me, so I'll believe in me too. Right? He has faith in me, I'll have faith in myself too. This is Chizuru having faith in herself. All of this is Chizuru having faith in herself and her feelings. That's why she closes her eyes. Chizuru learning to believe, Kazuya waking up to reality. That's the two scenes. That's the contrast. And that's something you can see in what Chizuru says in chapter 382, where Chizuru literally talks about three particular things. Impossible dreams, unrewarded efforts, and unrequited feelings. Her dream came true, her efforts were rewarded, and her feelings were requited. This is also present in chapter 383. Kazuya says, you're not a burden. Right? Her, what was it? Your feelings are what's important. If I were you, I'd hate someone like me. He believes in her. She literally made the story come true. She literally chose to dream. That's what happened. So in this scene, she was literally not filtering her approach. She was just being honest to herself. She started to literally just believing in herself. And her belief in herself proved true. She was literally just kind of stonewalling. Kazuya even says it. Doesn't she seem particularly, what is it? Mizuhara's acting normal, or actually maybe she's not in a good mood. Isn't she kind of stone-faced? Of course she wouldn't be in a good mood. She's just being honest to her feelings. And through this challenge, Kazuya showed himself in the end, which prompted Chizuru to kiss him, and because she wanted to. It may have all been deliberate, not just emotional. She did an unfair test on purpose. That's completely possible. Maybe it was an unfair test. Maybe it wasn't an unfair test. We don't know. But Chizuru has been trying to figure it out, and so she took a risk. In simple terms, she stopped holding back. She would do what she needed to find her answer. She stopped skimming the broth and hit him with everything she got. And her effort was rewarded, right? Her effort was rewarded, her dream came true, and her feelings were requited, right? Literally everything she felt came true. Kazuya showed he could handle her unfiltered, and she felt like she could marry him, just like Sayori said. We can all agree Kazuya needed to be called out on his bullshit. And Chizuru did that during the date, and he got scared. But a challenge is good. He needs it. Life is full of challenges. Kazuya in the walk home showed he could handle a challenge. So Chizuru tested him here. Can he handle it? Maybe Chizuru was testing him here. Maybe it's literally what I said. She was just being unfiltered. There's a scene that kind of hints to me that Chizuru was testing him. She was hoping he would do something. This seems like Chizuru seeing him and hoping he would do something. So, and when I see something like that, it feels kind of like a test. Like the only ever real test Chizuru ever had for Kazuya. Because she wasn't testing him before. She just wanted to know what he was feeling. But I feel like this was actually the Kazuya's test, and he never even knew he was taking one. And I think that's the best part. Kazuya literally never knew he was taking a test. So, can Kazuya handle it? Yeah, he could. He showed he could. But now Kazuya is running again. He's passive again. So after the call with the manager, Chizuru is certain of her conviction and doubles down. She did not make the wrong choice. Maybe chapter 390 is a call out to Kazuya. He won't get his answers from Minnie. Maybe Chizuru will text him moving forward. Chizuru wants to go through this together, but Kazuya is the one wavering. So she says she won't date until July 11th. This could be another challenge. Maybe he says, fine, figure out what you want, I already have. Right? Who knows? What right does Minnie have? And I say this too here. Chizuru has every right to be pissed at Minnie in the recent chapter. I'm going to just be real with you. Everybody's like siding with Minnie. Minnie is being a stupid idiot who is literally just acting on false information. And literally in this chapter, right here, Kazuya is literally like spilling vitriol. Like what Kazuya is saying here is vile. He's literally saying all women are the worst. And he says like words like dredge. Like he's saying terrible shit about women, and Minnie, a woman, is sitting there just like, oh, yep, that's totally cool. It's almost like Minnie is a fucking misogynist against other women. Right? Minnie literally doesn't care. Minnie literally does not care that Kazuya is saying this, and she's okay with it. And that's the problem. Minnie literally does not care, and that's the issue. She's okay with saying terrible stuff to women because she reflects the audience. He ain't lying, I'll be hurting too. What are you talking about? Is Minnie a yes man? Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's well said. Minnie is a yes man. That's all she is. She doesn't listen. She doesn't have her own thing. Minnie seems so individualistic, yet Minnie is the character that represents the audience. How can you be individualistic when you represent the readers? How can you be your own individual when you represent your own readers? Kazuya being vile? Wait. Why is Kazuya being vile when Minnie told him bullshit he knows better? He's being an idiot. And Minnie's letting him be an idiot. It shows how irresponsible Minnie is as a friend. She's very irresponsible. That she would let him say this stuff. That she would let him say this vile shit that's stupid and generalizing all women and attacking all women. Not realizing the reason Kazuya is doing this is because he doesn't want to actually say anything bad about Chizuru herself because he doesn't actually feel or believe this. No. He's not thinking for himself, but he is saying vile shit, and you have to call that out. And Minnie doesn't. It can be both. These things are not mutually exclusive. Kazuya is saying terrible shit. The thing that is redeeming about that scene is that notice how he always targets it at all women, not Chizuru specifically. And that's because Minnie generalizes Chizuru to all women. She just says this is something women do. It's almost like Minnie doesn't like women either in some ways. And she generalizes a lot of things about other women herself. And she's okay with Kazuya saying this stuff because maybe somewhere she kind of believes this too. Just like some readers want to view women in terrible ways. This is something Reiji has even showed depicting it purposefully at the very start of the series, where Kazuya literally accosts Chizuru, and Chizuru's intentionally at the very beginning of the series being framed like the person who's right, whereas Kazuya is the stupid idiot. That's the whole point. At the very start of the series, Chizuru's intentionally framed like she's right at the start of the series, where Kazuya is the stupid idiot. But then you get to chapter 2, and yeah, Kazuya is still acting like the stupid idiot, but then Chizuru makes a similar choice as him to lie to her grandparents, showing that she is a human being too. That she is also capable of making mistakes too. And I love that. I love that the characters have layers, an exploration of gender in meaningful ways, that people give women a whole lot of shit just because they're women. And then there's also men who get too much shit for needing to live up and be a certain kind of way. But in a different kind of way, right? Like with men, it's like they're not being held under a microscope in the same way. It's more so like they need to, they need to be manly and shit. Whereas with women, it's more so about subservience and like acting a certain way in that kind of sense, right? What men need to lead, when women need to follow. But then the story's like, that's fucking stupid. Get that shit out of your head. You're idiotic as fuck. And literally Chizuru calls Kazuya the fuck out and accosts him in public or not in public, in secret, because what the fuck are you doing, dude? What is this? Kazuya was venting, saying things he doesn't feel or mean for catharsis. I don't think it was for catharsis. I can say it's not for catharsis for a very simple reason. He's drunk. Alcohol is a depressant. He doesn't want to feel this way. This makes him feel terrible. It's not catharsis. It's the here. Just look at the scene. Just literally look at the scene. Look at it carefully. Does this look like catharsis? Does anything about this scene feel cathartic? It just looks painful. It just sucks. It's just miserable. Everything about this scene is just miserable. There's no catharsis here. It's just miserable. It sucks. There's no catharsis here. And that's why he keeps hating himself afterwards. He's not simply depressed. He's making him depressed. Other people can influence your emotions. Minnie's making him depressed. She literally is giving him a depressant. Alcohol is literally an actual fucking depressant. It makes you depressed. And she's giving that to him and making him drink more when she tells him false information and she knows he's not feeling well. It is the epitome of being irresponsible. And here she is saying to Kazuya, it's unlike Chizuru to not take any responsibility. Who are you to talk about responsibility when Kazuya looks like this because of your actions? How are you a responsible friend? She says Chizuru is past being stubborn to the point of being insincere. Huh? Who just fucking lied to him? Who's the one being insincere? Who's being so stubborn she's being insincere? Huh? How ironic. Minnie is saying all this shit about Chizuru when it's literally she's talking about herself. She's literally talking about herself. That's the irony. What Minnie is doing here is not catharsis in any way, shape, or form. It is depressing him. She's being a terrible friend. And if you genuinely think Minnie is being a good friend here, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, it's the truth. When has Minnie ever been responsible? Correct. Well said. She has never been responsible. Minnie has never had any level of responsibility in any way, shape, or form, and there has never, ever been consequences for any of her actions. There's literally never, ever been consequences for any of Minnie's actions. She's gotten away with everything because she's a cute girl, she's lovable, she's interesting, and you want to constantly engage and talk to her, so she gets away with everything. And it's on purpose. I know. It doesn't literally cause depression. Thank you for correcting me. He says depressant, in a medical sense, reduces synaptic activity. It doesn't directly cause depression. Yes, I'm aware. Right. I'm aware. Thank you. I read that specifically because you are correct. I'm just saying, like, Minnie is giving Kazuya a depressant to make him feel worse. It doesn't actually cause depression. It just fuels his depression. It fuels his negative emotions. It literally, because, like, for instance, like, I drank alcohol and got somewhat drunk, but I was around friends, so I was okay, like actual responsible friends who made sure they didn't get drunk. Um, and they literally I felt it in like a pit in my stomach, like literally creeping up. And that was because I was depressed at the time. And that shit was terrible. Like you feel terrible. You genuinely feel like death afterwards. And Minnie saw how badly Kazuya handled alcohol before, and she still got him drunk anyway. Right? Minnie literally doesn't care. She's not responsible. That's the only thing I'm trying to prove to you. She's literally not responsible. But don't we do that with friends, though? Try to make them forget. We all try to cheer up friends to make them forget with bar hopping, or maybe that's stupid, though. It's not about making them forget. The way you forget is you create new memories. You want to help your friend. You don't take them to a bar and get them drunk. You help them make new memories. You help them have fun. You take them out. You help them do something fun and engaging with their life. You don't take them to the bar. That's a mistake. You don't do that. If your friend is not feeling good, if your friend is not happy, don't take them to a bar. Take them somewhere fun. Take them to something they enjoy. Hang out with them. Minnie is here under the premise that she's hanging out with Kazuya. She's getting him drunk. He's not drinking casually, he's drunk. There's a huge difference. Yes, there are many other ways to help a friend forget and move on. Getting them drunk is the stupid way. Getting them drunk is irresponsible. That's not how you help forget. I went drinking when I still had a little bit of depression because I wanted to experience that, and I had friends who were responsible and could take care of me. I was okay because I had responsible friends. They made sure I ate so I wouldn't actually get full on drunk. They made sure I constantly had food so that way my depression didn't feel like actual death. They made sure I was okay and that I didn't have a bad hangover the next day. That's taking someone out and having an experience. Like with my friends, when I went out drinking, like we were talking to the bartenders, we were talking to people around. It felt like an actual experience. You don't just drink. It's not just the drinking. It's you actually have an experience. Like I actually had fun at the bar. I vividly recall the atmosphere, the environment. I recall who I was interacting with. I was having fun. It wasn't just I was drinking. Why did she buy him again? Because she brought a lot of drinks at the beginning. Oh, she literally bought everything. Wine, beer, highball, strong zero, Awamore, Chemzol, Kellner. And she went and bought more. This is how you know she's irresponsible. You want absolute proof. Minnie is being super irresponsible here. She finds out Chizuru kissed him. She tells him, "Why are you still here?" Proceeds to tell him how to feel, then says, "I'm going to get more beer." She gets more beer, and then what do they do next chapter? This is what Minnie and Kazuya do next chapter after Kazuya finds out or after Minnie finds out that Chizuru kissed him and that she's seemingly ready to date him. Why does she need to do any of this? If you were a responsible friend, I would slap the fuck out of you, sober you up, and send you back to her. The fuck are you doing here? What are you doing? Instead, Minnie wastes his time, tells him a whole bunch of bullshit, and then tells him to text her, and then wonders why didn't he text her when she's the one who kind of put this thought in his head a little bit. Instead of just saying, "Just ask her." Every time Kazuya asks a question, she has to give him a stupid answer instead of saying, "Just ask her." She's literally sitting in a box. She's thinking inside the box. Should have dragged him to her front door, rang the bell, and ran. Yeah. Instead, Minnie wastes his time, and because she wasted his time, Chizuru possibly got a play she really wants to focus on, and they never got to interact. Huh. How fitting. Chizuru looks like she's about to cry here, all because of Minnie. And somehow it's Chizuru's fault. Somehow what's currently going on in the manga is Chizuru's fault. Even though Kazuya is the one not interacting with her. But to be fair, Minnie, she didn't know about the kiss. She was assuming. I literally just told you. No, she didn't assume it was game over for Kazuya. No, you're excusing Minnie. You're excusing Minnie. No. Minnie knew when she talked to Chizuru, she did not know everything. What is the first thing she says when she shows up at Kazuya's place? Chizuru told her, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Chizuru told her 3 sentences, like 3 or 4 sentences, on a date that she practiced with Kazuya for hours. And she never asks about any of that. Does she ever ask Kazuya here what happened? No. She says, I know everything. And then proceeds to tell him what happened and presents him a bunch of alcohol that is unclear whether it's celebratory or not. You are excusing her. That is a fact. She then gets him shit-faced drunk on a complete misunderstanding that she herself created. Minnie could have just asked. What happened? That's all she needed. But you know why she doesn't? The nerve symbol. Because this symbol represents control. She needs control. She wants to play God. She wants to play Cupid. That's why. She needs to do that. Minnie needs control. She needs to control this entire situation. That's why she sticks around. That's why she feels like it's her responsibility to go and to talk to Chizuru in Kazuya's place because he won't act. No, it is none of your fucking business. It is not your relationship, Minnie. Fuck off. If I had a friend doing that, I would be really fucking pissed. If I had a friend doing that, going to talk to my girlfriend because of stupid crap that they're assuming, I would be pretty darn pissed. It is none of Minnie's business. Minnie is arguably worse than most of the other female characters. She's just presented in a really, really positive light. And you never realize. Minnie got too caught up in their relationship. She's too invested. And she's done this from the start. She filmed them when they were talking in private. Do you remember the very beginning of the series, when she's first introduced? Minnie sees them talking about rent-a-girlfriend stuff and fucking films them. Because she's an idiot. And then she shows this to Kazuya like she's blackmailing him. Only to not actually be blackmailing him. And it's like, so why did you film it? Because you could have just talked to him. You didn't need to film it. She's a dipshit. Minnie is a girl failure. She's an idiot. She literally establishes an unhealthy hierarchy with Kazuya. They literally don't have a friendship. They have a hierarchy. She literally calls him master. She doesn't call him Kazuya. She calls him master. She idolizes him. She's so busy admiring him, they develop an unhealthy codependent relationship. It's literally, they have no fucking boundaries. What Minnie and Kazuya have is not healthy. It is not healthy. And it's a problem. And Minnie is literally like, there are names you can have for codependent relationships. Kazuya would be the people pleaser, and Minnie would be the enabler. She enables his bad behavior. And Kazuya is a people pleaser, so he goes along with it. And he even admits it. He's a people pleaser. He literally admits it. Anyways, we're going to focus on 390 again. What right does Minnie have to yell at Chizuru? What right does Minnie have to yell at Chizuru? It's none of her fucking business. Kazuya told her not to do anything rash. Kazuya literally told Minnie, don't do anything rash. Does this seem chill? Does this seem reasonable and under control? No. Minnie shows up at school, yells at Chizuru, and accuses her of not doing anything when Kazuya is doing the very same thing. So, what does Chizuru do? She deliberately misdirects away from the kiss, creates a story, and challenges them. Fine. Keep waiting for a month and a half. You're the one who wants to wait, right? She literally tells Minnie, shut the fuck up. To me, this feels like Chizuru telling Minnie, fuck off. And she doesn't answer any more of her questions. Notice how she doesn't answer any of her questions. And she just walks. She just walks out. Chizuru doesn't even answer Minnie. She just walks out. She played her. Minnie got fucking played. Does this seem cruel? Yeah, maybe, but let's not pretend Kazuya is doing anything here besides waiting, drinking, and letting Minnie carry him while he's literally carrying her. Kazuya is doing this to himself, and he probably will think about what this actually means soon and get a grip. This theory to me highlights a core part of Chizuru, her determination, her sensibility, her determination, her sense of responsibility, and how much she actually cares for him. She's willing to challenge him this hard and bring out the real him, the movie arc him, because Kazuya isn't weak. He convinces himself he is. I've said this before. Kazuya isn't fucking weak. Kazuya is strong. Kazuya is not weak. He is tough. You see that in the walk home. He is a total fucking champ. In the walk home, total fucking champ. But he convinces himself he's weak and he can't do anything. And Minnie feels that. Minnie feeds into Kazuya's weakness while claiming to admire him as her master. And it shows she doesn't understand jack shit about him. She's constantly focused. She literally talks to Chizuru about how Kazuya is seemingly overcoming his fear. And he's constantly like persevering and doing all this stuff. But in that time, he's literally afraid. She's literally not acknowledging him. Where is it? Minnie tells Chizuru about all of her friends. Compared to them, Master is, I guess you'd call him, real. People are scaredy cats. Oh, that's out of my reach. No, I'm aiming too high. They find excuses to give up on things. Isn't that kind of what Kazuya is doing now? It's almost like because Minnie's around these other people who do these things, she's fueling that in Kazuya. And she's giving him an excuse to give up. And these are things he's been doing. It's almost like these words are detached from Kazuya. You're seeing him walk, but it's almost like these words are detached from him. Because the real Kazuya that she's describing who does do these things, Minnie has essentially literally surrounded him with these words. Minnie literally surrounds him with these words now. And he does these very things now. I'm sure they just want to protect themselves is all. But when I think about the first time Master talked about you, to see someone's love outshine their fear is nothing short of brilliant. What matters most in life isn't the stuff you get buried with, it's also the moments you burn into your memory. Even if you two don't work out, I'll still be in his corner. That's how I see him. Okay. That's awesome, but it literally shows. What did you just see? Minnie's eyes are closed. She doesn't see him. She doesn't see Chizuru. Every time Minnie talks like this in these scenes, her eyes are closed. Every time Minnie does this stuff, her eyes are literally closed. She doesn't actually see the characters in front of her. She sees what she wants to see. She doesn't recognize that Kazuya is scared all the time. He's been showing her how scared he is. And when Kazuya isn't giving up, he's not exactly moving either. And Minnie reinforces that. Minnie accosts Chizuru for not reaching out to Kazuya when she was giving Kazuya his biggest vice. Yeah, what right does Minnie have to do with the fuck she's doing here? Minnie helped Kazuya convince himself he's weak, when you saw before he wasn't. Here. I showed you chapter 242. He literally asked to hang out with Chizuru. Chapter 247. He's literally with Chizuru, and he was wondering, am I not the right person? Am I not? Bookcase falls over. He jumps in to protect her. And she literally tells him to wait. And he hesitates. He doesn't see how strong and helpful he actually is. Even in this scene, like here before this one, actually, like, let me just prove my point a little better. 246. If it's for someone in need, the strength just finds a way. Here he is carrying all this stuff for Chizuru, helping her out. He literally doesn't see how he's literally helping her empty the baggage out of her house. She literally could not do this without him. She literally needed him. And she literally sees how amazing he is, and she wants to hug him, but she needs to hug the cardboard and not him. She has to sit in the room. She has to sit outside alone and not be able to touch him. He doesn't realize that he wants, just as he wants to be there for her, she wants to do the same for him. Right? Just as he wants to support her and hug her, she wants to hug him. And he doesn't see that. And that's the point. These problems were always there. Minnie just fueled them to their absolute breaking point so they can confront them. These problems were always there. What Minnie did is fuel them to their breaking point so they can confront them. Chizuru realized she could do it on her own. That's why she takes down the curtain herself. She didn't need Minnie from the start. She just thought she did. Chizuru was always capable, and so was he. Right? Kazuya was always capable, so was Chizuru. She didn't need to doubt herself or her feelings. Chizuru's approach was right all along. Kazuya on the walk home is an absolute champ. He's carrying Chizuru no problem. He talks back and doesn't accept her answer anymore. He believes in her like she believed in him. So why the hell does he not believe in himself? He is more than capable. He can do everything. You can do everything you want. Kazuya is like a knight in the shining armor during the literal night. He's got this shit on lock. He literally uses Chizuru's line on her, and she keeps saying no, almost so this Kazuya actually keeps existing. Every challenge she presents, he fights back. A constant flux of motion and change. The nursery arc shows this, right? Nursery arc. The nursery arc shows how capable Kazuya is. He literally manages these kids like a boss, and they call him boss. The kids literally call him boss and Demon King. They think he's cool as shit, and Chizuru sees that, and she's like, damn, I'm kind of swooning a little bit. Wow, he really has it together. And then when he plays Kindenyama with the kids, and she's like, what? He's good. Right? He takes care of her and has no issues both playing with the kids and controlling the flow of the conversation when need be. He is very capable and skilled, and Chizuru tells him this on the walk home. You're shooting and your cat's cradle too. I never told me you had those kinds of skills. Oh, I wouldn't really call them skills. Opens her eyes. No, a skill is just that, a skill. That's impressive. Kazuya constantly doubts those skills, though, and puts himself down. 385 exemplifies this. He fails at the things he was supposed to be good at, right? He sees Chizuru be better at him with this game because he's so fixated on hitting a single target, never realizing he could literally hit all the targets and get more points just like she did. So what happened in this scene that you don't realize is Chizuru hit smaller targets. Chizuru literally hits smaller targets. That's why she succeeds. Kazuya keeps trying to hit the same target over and over and over and over again, and it never falls off. It never falls over because the target's too big. And he never realizes that. That's why he never succeeds. Because he's just trying to hit the same thing on his own. When he could have hit smaller targets and succeeded. And on the walk back, she notices, "Are you upset?" What? No, not at all. He pretends like he's fine. And she says, "I'm the winner." Right? She smiles. Haha, I won. And Kazuya is like, thank you. You saw me." She challenged him. She didn't say, "Oh, are you okay? I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah." No, she literally just said, "I won. What are you going to do about it?" She challenged him. She didn't coddle him. Minnie would have been like, "Oh, don't worry about it, master. You'll get him next time." That's what Minnie would have done. Chizuru, no, she challenges him. "Hey, I beat you. What are you going to fucking do about it?" I love that. I love when friends challenge me. I love when friends like act like little shits because I get motivated to win. I want to fucking win now. She motivates him. Literally, he's following her. She's walking back, looking at him, and he's following her. She's motivating him to walk forward. "I'm coming to Odaiba every weekend. Ha ha ha, you're so into this. Come on, let's go." "Yeah, I'm starving." She literally motivates him. She gets him moving. She gets him to do what he wants to do. She makes him feel capable by challenging him when he fails. No, why are you giving up? Get better at it. Get good. Literally, you play me in a fighting game. I'll beat your ass and I'll tell you, get good. Come back and beat my ass. He fails at the thing he was supposed to be good at. And what does Chizuru do? She challenges him. "I won. Come and try again." And he picks himself up and keeps going. Kazuya is not weak. In this date, he also doesn't give himself any credit for the film, and Chizuru has to keep reminding him how cool he actually is. But that's the thing. Chizuru keeps being supportive like he is. Like he was. When should Kazuya be challenged? When will he be ready? He needs to be a partner, not a child. Even on the rainiest of days, I think I can have fun as long as I'm with you. Doesn't he look mature? Isn't this him? Isn't this just him being honest? The problem is Kazuya is too much of a child at the moment. He's too reliant on his parent, aka Minnie, to solve all of his problems. But Kazuya isn't a kid. She's babying him. When Minnie babies him, she doesn't treat him like an adult. Minnie does not treat him like an adult because she's not an adult. And she's not she's not a fucking parent. Who has we seen that is, who looks like an actual good parent who's got his shit together? Kazuya. Kazuya needs to be the parent. He needs to start leading. Not let Minnie lead, who doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She's a stupid kid. It's like Kazuya gave the driver's seat to a kid. Of course you're gonna fucking crash. Kazuya needs to live, and that's a repeating motif of challenge versus comfort is what makes him. And this repeating motif of challenge versus comfort is what makes me think this is Chizuru actually fully aware of her actions here. That's another thing that I don't mention here that I really want to bring up. What's actually happening is this comes back fundamentally to the theme of agency, which Kazuya believes he does not have. He cannot impact or change anything in the world. That's what he thinks. But that's something he's convinced himself of. The repeating motif and theme for Kazuya's character, especially after Hawaiians, is agency. Him not feeling like he's good enough. Him feeling like he is completely powerless when he is not. And that's why he needs to be challenged so that he can see he can succeed. That's where Minnie is failing. That's where Minnie can't help him whatsoever because she's never been challenged herself. So, what Kazuya needs to do is actually face a problem and overcome it. When you overcome a problem, you feel like you can succeed. Then you overcome another problem, and then you overcome another problem, and look at that. Hey, you're not so powerless. You can actually succeed. That's literally what therapy would do for you. If you talk to a therapist, that's what they would fucking tell you, dude. Just help them just give them some small problems to solve. Here's an example. When you have a whole bunch of tasks, do you do them all at once? Or do you do one at a time? To break it down so it's not just a big mountain to overcome. Isn't that literally what Kazuya tries to do when he's doing the shooting game? He tries to take out a big target with all of his thing. He was only ever going to get one even if he knocked it down, but he couldn't. Instead, Chizuru does the smart thing. She knocks down the smaller targets and gets a whole bunch of prizes, right? Kazuya is trying to knock down a mountain instead of just slowly figuring his shit out piece by piece. And that's the problem. Many can't guide him through this. What Chizuru's doing is deliberate. If he's going to lie and hide, that she will lie to and pull him out. No more hiding. You are not powerless. Kazuya was not ready to date Chizuru in chapter 388. In chapter 380, I can say this for certain now. Not simply because he couldn't answer her questions. No, that's just a symptom of a bigger problem. Kazuya is not living, he's reacting, and he needs to live again, value and love himself. Chizuru and Minnie are opposites. Minnie represents comfort and safety while preaching responsibility, drinking, wasting time, being stupid. Chizuru is responsibility and truly living, using her month wisely, following her dream, caring so much she sacrifices her own selfish desires because it's the right thing to do. She literally says that here, right? She says this line twice. I mean, it's just this isn't right. I know that I'm making you wait, and yet here I am barring your shoulder again, not even able to understand how I feel. Because it's not right. You put so much work into everything, it wouldn't be fair to ruin it because of me. It's not right. I'm not going to do something because of my own selfish desires. I won't put my selfish desires first. I'll always put you first. She's so goddamn selfless. She's so responsible. She always puts his feelings first. Literally, she's literally telling you, that entire scene is literally her constantly saying, I'm putting your feelings first. What does Kazuya want? Comfort, an easy way out, or something hard but meaningful? How long will he run? How much more is he going to wait? Other characters have it easy. They get to just live with no worries or consequences. But when you actually care in this world, that's hard. Mami got away with her actions in Hawaii scot-free. Minnie never has any consequences to her actions that she herself sees, right? She causes issues for other people, but she never has consequences for her actions. Nobody ever blames her. Ruka is content with a false situation. Sumi gives up on her feelings for Kazuya and keeps doing rental. When do we start living, and when did we stop? Right? This is the question I think is being posed and asked. What do you want out of life? Where do you want to go? This defines our love. This is a story of love, and love is what you want and need. So what do the characters want for their future? That I think is what we will be answering. That's why the date Chizuru is set is July 11th, one day before the day the series began serialization on July 12th. The big answer. And you'll notice time is moving faster and faster. It is no longer waiting. So why is Kazuya? Chizuru realized that too. Why was she waiting? When will they meet and work together in the future? Together, right? 390 feels like Chizuru being responsible and working towards her future. She's done waiting, maybe in more ways than one. She's also challenging Kazuya to work on his future that he neglected. No more wasted opportunities or regrets. She's chasing her happiness, as Sayuri said. Let's pull up the chapter where Sayuri literally says this. Like, it's literally that her line is perfect. A part of me wants to know, and a part of me doesn't. This is when Chizuru tries to tell her a lie. I see, a lie. A part of me wants to know, a part of me doesn't. But whatever my beloved granddaughter decides, I can accept it. But I think I'm anymore, right? Chizuru here is almost making a choice because of what Kazuya said, not because what she actually believes. But in this world of ours, there are many simple choices but to press forward. There aren't many simple choices but to press forward. Through the endless doubt, the anxiety, and the anguish, and to keep facing those difficult choices. That's the only way to live life to the fullest. You've grown up to be a woman who can do just that. That's all I need to be truly happy. Pretty. You were so pretty. The movie was wonderful. Thank you. Please give Kazuya-kun my thanks as well. I love you so much, Chizuru-san. You are my pride and joy. Yeah, me too. I love you too. I love you so much. The lie didn't matter. This is what mattered. Their love for each other. The lie didn't matter. That's the whole point of this scene. It doesn't matter if they lied. The truth is, they loved each other. Chizuru, a person who struggles to say I love you, says I love you so much, Grandma. The person who's constantly held back this entire time. If you actually believe Mami in Hawaiians, you're a fucking idiot. Like, literally. If you believe Mami in Hawaiians, you're a fucking idiot. Kazuya wasted his opportunity in chapter 386 and 390. Something perfectly exemplified in chapter 390 when Kazuya is play acting with Minnie while a clock continues to tick down. Chizuru, in contrast, is given an opportunity she won't waste. This to me is what she's saying here. I've always wanted to do this. I'm not going to waste this chance, this opportunity. She's not lying about that. I think the truth underneath that is that this is also a call to Kazuya to do the same. This is more interesting when you realize this might be the same play from chapter 319. Minnie comes preaching to Chizuru about Kazuya's faith in her, but what good is faith and fate if we don't work for them? If we don't seize the opportunity they give? If you have a dream, pursue it. If you get lucky, use that luck. Work towards your goal, don't just wait forever. You can't forget about your ex, can you? Then grab her back with everything you've got. If you want something, you got to throw everything else away and grab it. Life is a lot more fun that way. In 383, Kazuya had faith in Chizuru to find her answer. He believed in her like she believed in him, and she did not waste his faith. She took a risk and found her answer. In 384 to 385, Kazuya, on the other hand, wasted Chizuru's, that's when Chizuru did that. Kazuya, on the other hand, wasted Chizuru's faith. He didn't seize the opportunity and lost time. But Chizuru isn't going to give up on him like he didn't give up on her. That's what love is. You don't give up on the person you love, you work with them and challenge them. I think Chizuru is doing that just now and preparing to challenge Kazuya and show him her faith in him. Who? If you believe Mami, you are a Mami simp. No. You know why I can say that's false? You know why I can say that's false? Jaws is the biggest Mami simp on the goddamn planet. And he thinks people who believe Mami are fucking idiots. Like, bro, this dude is willing to forgive the anime because it showed Mami with a nice ass. The anime, which has depicted Mami in a very weird way this entire time, he's willing to forgive it because, damn, Mami's ass was drawn well in one particular scene. Hell yeah, brother. And even that person is willing to say, nah, Mami was what Mami's saying is bullshit. What Mami's saying is bullshit. And if you listen to her, you're a goddamn idiot. She definitely wants Kazuya with her on the new journey, but she can't sacrifice the chance when he won't act. No, I don't think Chizuru's going to give up on him. No. I think Chizuru's going to commit to the play, but find a way to talk to Kazuya. I genuinely think so. No, I don't agree with that, Lawless Bacon. I think Chizuru is going to commit to this play, but she's also going to work on her relationship with Kazuya. She's not going to just sit and wait. What Chizuru is doing here is antithetical to sitting and waiting. What Chizuru is doing here is antithetical to sitting and waiting. She's done waiting. So why would she just why would she have Kazuya wait? No, this is about taking decisive action. This is all about taking decisive action, deliberate choices you are making for yourself. Literally, you are living. You're not letting fate decide for you. This looks like Chizuru saying, we'll meet then, I'll leave it up to fate. Minnie's job as a wing woman is over. It was never there to begin with. I mean, she helped sometimes, but yeah. Minnie helped when she didn't know. But even then, she kind of got in the way. The problem with Minnie is she sets expectations, and even though sometimes it's helpful, there are times where it's helpful, right? And then there are times where it gets in the way. For instance, in the cheer update, it actually is helpful. Minnie can be supportive. It's just Minnie does her job best when she's not super involved. And I think Minnie is actually quite cynical, because the moment you're introduced to Minnie, she comes off as pretty darn cynical and rude. Does Minnie have feelings for Kazuya? I think she's caught up in this stuff and is developing not feelings, but like she's idolizing him. And Minnie is... So, okay, Basically, Minnie is afraid to go after love herself, but she gets an easy love through Kazuya. If anything, she's like a worse Ruka, because at least Ruka actively chases her love. Minnie is like content with an easy love, without actually admitting it's love. She's literally actively lying to herself. Minnie actively lies to herself. She's content with an easy love, not an actual meaningful love. And she's literally not deciding for herself. She's literally choosing not to chase love, and she lies to herself and tells herself, I can't do it because I don't have people supporting me. But love is not inherently lonely. Her very actions to try and help Kazuya is fundamentally antithetical to that belief. That you don't need to do it alone. Literally, the reason Chizuru can do what she does in chapter 384 and 385 is because of Kazuya's actions. He spurred her on to do it. The reason they can do what they do in those chapters is because of each other. The task they had to do themselves, yes. The main task had to be done alone. But they inspired each other to do it. In that sense, love can be lonely. Loneliness is a part of love, but it is not inherently lonely. And the problem with Minnie is she looks at it like it's a lonely thing, but that is fundamentally antithetical to what she herself does with Kazuya. She's actively with him, supporting him with his love. So how is his love lonely? See what I mean? Right? Kazuya could help her with her love, but she chooses not to chase love. So she settles for an easy love with Kazuya, never actually trying to search for her own meaningful relationship, instead getting a relationship out of Kazuya and Chizuru's relationship. Minnie is literally using them without really being sincere to herself that she's using them. For her own kind of thing. She's getting her own family, she's getting her own love, because she feels like she doesn't have that. That's the irony of Minnie's actions. Anywho. Yeah, no, what were we saying? Yeah, I think Chizuru will contact Kazuya. I think they will meet. She will take a deliberate choice. I genuinely think she'll make some sort of deliberate choice. They will either contact each other or talk in some way. It's not going to be just, we're not going to talk. No, this is about making deliberate, active choices, not just sitting around and waiting. No more waiting. No more sitting around. Just as Chizuru is not going to wait for this play and not do anything, she's not going to just sit around and wait for Kazuya to do something. She's going to take action. But she's going to cut Minnie out of it, clearly. She's clearly going to cut Minnie out of it. Fuck off, Minnie. Like, this literally feels like a fuck off to Minnie moment. And that's going to be interesting when we start exploring that more. Talking about that more. Right? Like, I don't know. I think that's where we're going. And like, Chizuru could just say to Minnie, fuck off. But this is Chizuru doing it her own way. Right? This is Chizuru doing it her own way. She just wants to talk to Kazuya. Because think about it for a sec. If Chizuru tells Minnie, don't do anything, what is Minnie going to do? What is Minnie going to do? What have we learned about Minnie? Right? So you think to yourself, okay, why doesn't Chizuru just tell Minnie, I don't want you involved in our relationship. I want to handle this. Right? What is Minnie going to... One, it'll hurt Minnie's feelings. Two, what would Minnie do? What would Minnie do? Master specifically told me not to do anything rash. I've been scolded before. What does she do? She doesn't listen. She never listens. I asked one thing of you, and you couldn't do it. She never listens. So naturally, Chizuru isn't going to tell her to do anything, because if Chizuru tells her to do something, she'll do it. She'll do the opposite every time, 200% of the time. That's Minnie's MO. That's literally how she's wired. She's always going to function like this. Right? Minnie had one job. Yeah, I'm really curious what we'll figure out about the D-mail thing from the future chapters. I think that's the one thing I'm really looking forward to. What are we going to figure out about the D-mail thing from the future chapters, and how will this chapter be recontextualized once we understand more of what's going to happen in the future based on the D-mail thing? Like, could this thing be foreshadowing, right? Could this thing be foreshadowing? Could it be something in the chapter we didn't notice, right? Like, I can say openly Minnie is operating on a false premise, and that's how we can say maybe this chapter is literally like, that's the D-mail thing. Minnie's operating on a false premise. If she had not talked to Kazuya, she wouldn't have maybe interacted with Chizuru. I forgot. I came up with one good theory for the D-mail thing, and I forgot it. I hate that I forgot it. I had a good theory, and I forgot it. I hate that I did. It pisses me the fuck off. Anyways, I think I'm mostly done. Let me see if there's anything else I can talk about. Oh, they showed a new Ruka picture, or a new Ruka art piece that was released for like a magazine. It's really, really good. Oh yeah, I understand. Ruka's been growing on me a lot more lately, but damn. God damn. Goodness gracious me. Good job. Damn, whoever drew this cooked. Whoever drew this cooked. Unbelievable levels of cooking. Well done. Well done. Like, it's so impressive. It's so pretty. The anatomy, everything about it. Like, I love the motion. I love the way the hips are moving, the emotion. I love the details in the shadows. I love how she's literally surrounded by hibiscus flowers. There's a hibiscus in her chest. There's a hibiscus on her sides. Yes, there's a groin. Of course, we're all fucking horny. Of course, we're horny. Yes, we know. I personally noticed this part a lot, and I like the hips. That's the two things. I love the details on the arm too. I love detailed bodies. It's a thing I like. Like, I love the arms. I love the way they detail the arms. I love this on her chest. I like all my, even her expression. Her expression is so cute. Like, everything about this is peak. Am I on the wrong website, lol? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's getting weird. What? I can't appreciate the art? I can do that. This is the time and place where we can appreciate good art. You can be a little horny. Hey, Retro Girlfriends had horny shit. I'm not being like those people earlier where I'm just like, ooh, she's my lustful desire. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not out here saying, ooh, she's my lustful desire, like some weird fucking child. I'm literally just saying this is good shit. You can appreciate the human anatomy and think this shit looks good. Of course this is hot as fuck. You shitting me, bro? We are people of culture. Women can like this too. Oh yeah, this artist, I forgot what they drew. They draw like a really weird manga series. I forgot what it was. So a bunch of artists are going to the Ruka event, and this artist draws this like manga where shoot, what was it? Let me find it. Oh yeah. Kana Hirayama shared these things she drew for this is pieces she drew for last chapter or last episode, my bad. Very good as usual. Oh yeah, we finally got a clean version of this. This you get this when you purchase the Blu-ray. You get this when you purchase the Blu-ray. It looks so good. It looks so cute. Oh yeah, I did want to share something really interesting with you guys. Reiji is super happy that he can draw the manga with mostly Kazuya and Minnie, like when they were doing the scouting, and people will still like it. Like, he's so happy people will still enjoy just having Kazuya in the centerpiece, and like actually like just have him and not like most of the other girls and stuff. And I think that's really cool. Like, it sounds like he really wants to draw just Kazuya more. It sounds like Reiji just wants to do a lot more just Kazuya, and he's very excited about that.
Let's see. Bookmarks. Okay, so this must be it. From Bad Girl, there's a manga called. Okay, so what was it? It's Bad Girl or something. Trying to find the author for this series. Damn, I saw their thing earlier. Where is it? There's like another author that here, I know how to do it. Silly me. Silly goose. Translate. Youth and Her. Oh, I can't do the translated version because, of course. Let's see. Oh, there they are. So this person, I don't know if you guys are like familiar with this artist. I follow them just because like I actually read their manga. It's like Atsu no Kanojo, and it's like a really weird manga where like the main dude likes this girl who's dating another guy, but she seemingly likes the other guy, and it's just like all a bunch of weird messed up relationships. It's all just filled with like weird messed up relationships. And I read it, and it's just like it's just like an okay manga. It's not the greatest thing in the universe. Just it's just I. And this artist went to the Ruka exhibition, and drew some stuff for it. Trying to see. Let me find it. Like, yeah, here we go. Here's their post. So yeah, they said they went to the Ruka exhibition again. Super big artist. Um, what's the name of the manga? It's like Atsu no Kanojo. I'll show it in just a sec. The other day, I visited the Ruka Sarishina birthday commemorative solo exhibition, Youth and Her, and hosted by Reiji Miyajime. It was the best. And I was to be able to soak all of Ruka-chan's cuteness with my whole body. I secretly got an autograph too, so please try to find it on site. So they drew this. This is their Atsu no Kanojo. Yeah, that series. I read it. It's just kind of there's also I love these little drawings. There's Sumi up there. There's Chizuru right here, and then Happy Birthday, and then there's like a little Ruka down here. These are so cute. Oh, Minnie's up there. Yeah. So yeah, they've a lot of artists are like showing up at the event and drawing their own art, and I think that's really really cool that they're all going. I want to see. I want to be able to see like all the art pieces that were taken. It's really cool how other artists really like Rag as well. Yeah, they're all really supportive of each other and like really love this series. But like just the anime community is like, oh, it's terrible, it's the worst thing ever. When all the artists, all other artists, love to support each other, and actually really love each other's works and feel inspired by each other's works, right? Like artists actually work with each other and they actually value art, whereas most anime people are just big critics, right? There's a difference between a critic and an artist. And I think people tend to forget that. Right? Like critics say like their usual bullshit, but artists actually fucking love art and they'll support all artists. Why didn't anybody tell me this thing was misaligned? There we go. A problem solved. Why did nobody tell me? It was misaligned the whole time. Damn it. I'm just pissed. Oh, hey, look. Marin Kitagawa. I've kind of just I can't really appreciate that series very much anymore, unfortunately. Just, always hyped up a lot. So I'm just kind of like, hey.
I secretly dropped by today. This is the person who's been posting a lot for the anime. They do a lot of the 2D artwork for the anime. He said I secretly dropped by today. I also left a message, so you might find it tucked away in some corner. That's so cool. I'm gonna save this. I wonder whose this is. Doesn't this art style look similar to what is it? What's the artist's name that draws quintessential quintuplets? This kind of looks like quintessential quintuplets art style. What did they say right here? Unfortunately, my arm wasn't up to the task of catching Ruka-chan. What a shame. That's funny. We don't need a second green screen and overlap it. You need a second screen to and overlap it. I mean, true, or I could just get a super big one. I just kept dying. I hit the point of boredom. Oh, people love it, so we're not gonna talk about that. I wonder if there's a Kazuya simpers out there besides you, Fate. Oh, there are people on Reddit. There are people on Reddit who like him. Let's see. Yeah, I'm okay. What's the author's name from Quintessential Quintuplets? Like, what's their thing? Because I know, I think it's a she. I know she and Reiji talk a lot, and they're actually friends. Is it a she or he? Nagi? Sorry, crossword. Is it a? Are they? Oh, is it a dude? It's a dude. It's a dude. Google is at your fingertips. I know. I'm searching right now. Give me a sec. Twitter. Yeah, they also do Lost Rangers. Negi Harubo. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find their Twitter, and it's not. Do they not have a Twitter? Nearly committed a crime typing the first part. What, Harambe? I don't know. Official Twitter. No, I think they have a Twitter. I just gotta find it. Just be a little stubborn. Found it. Haha. Yush. Yush. Yeah. Oh, I even follow them. How funny. Say, I wonder if they went to the Ruka event. I don't think so. Okay, let's go to their media. Yep, almost. I'm almost done with the stream. See, because I'm
Almost out of here. But I guess that wasn't them. That's too bad. I guess it wasn't them. So I wonder who that person in the center is. It looks like their art style. Let's see. Autocorrect the neggy part. Really? Oh, aha. Okay. Okay. Which Mogami. Yeah, I just don't know who this person at the center is. I know all of these other artists. Oh, except for this one, actually. I don't know this one either. What the hell? Oh no, I know who this is. This is the artist that does the one where they're married. I forgot the name of it. It's the one where they're married. I know they also like Reishi's work. She has pink hair. There's like a whole moon thing with her character. Um, yeah, I know that's who this artist is. I don't know who this artist is. It's driving me nuts. I'm not sure who this is. That's too bad. That's too bad. I really want to know. I'll figure it out on my own time, I guess. I've been streaming for 3 hours. I think we're pretty much done here for today. I didn't want to stream for too long. I want to take the rest of the day, take it easy. So I hope you fellas had fun. I hope this stream was interesting. I hope we enjoyed ourselves and came up with some interesting theories. I won't be streaming. I don't think I'll be streaming unless there's like there's an urgent need to stream. So I doubt I'll actually be streaming again for a little bit. You probably won't see me until Tuesday. I may make a video. I think I'd like to be responsible like Chizuru and make some videos. So I might make a video. I might work on something. Maybe the Ruka project. I'll make the first video for the Ruka project. I'll make a part 1 and then I'll make a part 2 when it's done. So I can have all the details for it. I think that's reasonable. I think that's pretty reasonable. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like button, hit the bell icon, keep up with the uploads, all that fun stuff. Consider subscribing. Consider subscribing. No, Chizuru inspires me. She's the part of me that needs to be responsible, right? Right. It's just I gotta be responsible like her. She puts me on the right track. I gotta be responsible like her, right? It's fun, man. Have a good day. Yeah. So yeah, subscribe, like button, hit the bell icon, keep up with the uploads. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Wow, I gotta check my Patreon. I haven't checked it in a while. That's not good. Consider joining our Discord to talk to me directly, and consider following me on Twitter, where I write a whole bunch of threads and stuff and talk about the chapters and things along those lines. Awesome debates. Yep, it was fun. It was fun. We had a good time. Alrighty, take care, fellas, and remember, let's mosey. I'm gonna go eat something now.